Good evening once again. I'd like to take a moment in recognition of some events that have happened here in the last couple of weeks. I want to have a moment of silence for one of our students that is no longer with us. His name is Henry Tahita, and we'd also like to take a moment of silence for the individuals that fell victim to the terror attacks last week. So if we could just bow our heads and have a moment of silence. Thank you. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Mr. Palladino, please call the roll.
Trustee Dattis.
Here.
Trustee Darrow.
Here.
Trustee Jacko.
Here.
Trustee Velez. Trustee Williams.
Here.
Vice President Benamini.
Here.
President Moniz.
Here.
The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend meetings of this board, except where specifically exempted by law, at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having same advertised in the Belleville Times. Also, notice of this meeting has been mailed to the members of the Board of Education, the Borough Clerk, all elementary schools, the middle school, the high school, Hornblower Early Childhood Center, and posted on the district website. Also, this meeting is being televised via the district's YouTube and Facebook pages.
Thank you, Mr. Palladino. I'd like to have a motion for the approval of minutes for our September meeting. Motion.
Motion.
And
Second.
thank you, Mr. Palladino. Just all in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. I'd like to allow our student representative to have a few minutes and give us an update on it. She's part of our high school representation.
Good evening, everyone. Starting off with old news, the volleyball tournament run by the junior class and the volleyball team was a great success, bringing together all grades and raising $600. The volleyball team is maintaining an impressive season with a record of 12-3 for JV and 13-5 for varsity. Come out and support the girls on their senior night this Friday at 6 against Irvington. Along with the volleyball girls, the cheer and football teams have their senior night this Friday. Happening soon this week, boys and girls soccer teams have their senior night this Wednesday and Thursday. The Belleville Law Academy and Mock Trial will be hosting the Belleville Board of Education Candidate Forum on Wednesday, November 1st at 6 p.m. It will be held at the Connie Francis Theater in the Belleville High School. Ending the night off with some exciting news, the homecoming game and parade will be this Friday. I hope to see you there, and I hope everyone has a great week. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to move on to items presented by the administration. Dr. Tomko.
Thank you, President Muniz. Welcome, everyone. People watching at home, welcome to our October meeting. This is a very incredible night. We have a lot of our students here being honored for some incredible academic achievements. We also have our scoring report. Mr. Coben's going to do in a minute, but I do have to, since we do have a lot of parents in the room as well, and a lot of parents watching at home, I do want to talk about something that occurred at the middle school last week, and something that's been very important moving forward with regard to the way our community had responded, and when we go through an action like an active lockdown, what to expect and what are some of the things that occur before, during, after that. So wanted to kind of get some information out there to all of you, because I know most of you are very concerned. especially if you had children in the middle school, and how this occurs. Unfortunately, in my career, which is about 26 years now, I've been involved in several active lockdowns in building and outside of building in central office. And with every experience, you get together with the police department, with local emergency services, Office of Emergency Management, et cetera, and you just get better at it. One of the things that Belleville has that we pride ourselves on now is we have a director, our safety services director, and our threat assessment individual, who's Mr. Sullivan. So we actually have an administrator that's dedicated just to assess threats here, which is something that the Department of Education piloted a few years ago, and I think we're one of the only districts that have someone dedicated to this. So, excuse me, we take threat assessment very, very seriously. I think when you're outside on the periphery, you don't realize some of the threats that do occur, whether they're real or not, to your children. And unfortunately, as a parent of 4 myself, 3 still in public school system, 1 out of college. You want to know more. I understand that. You want to do everything. These are your kids, right? You drop them off at school, you put them on a bus, and you want to make sure they're safe. There's nothing more important to that. We could talk about test scores all we want. We could talk about books. We could talk about sports. There's absolutely nothing more important. And we all know that here. We know how important that is. I'm very passionate about that. And we do everything we possibly can to stop and mitigate, okay, dangers in the building. So, and I have to tell you, I think Belleville does an incredible job, and that's from our office, the Board of Education, down into the buildings, all the way through the community, and I'm speaking of the chief, deputy chief, fire department chief, all of those services. You are living in a town where we put this first because there's nothing more important than what I just said to you. But you do deserve some answers, okay, and I'm going to give those to you now on how this works, all right? And the first thing I will tell you is you're not going to know everything. And you should be happy about that as parents, right, or community members. You're not going to know everything because we do have things that mitigate threats that we're not going to tell you about, right? Because why would we do that, right? And again, that's something that if you did want to learn a bit more about, maybe that's a one-on-one conversation with me. You contact my office and you come to my office and I can maybe give you a little bit more. But there are things in our classrooms, there are things that we do on the outside intelligence-wise, but what we say, the main thing that you could tell your kids is 2 things. The first thing is this: if you see something, say something, right? If you see something, say something. We say it all the time, but nothing is more important than you saying it at home, right, once in a while. Now, you may think this is, what's the big deal? Well, it is a big deal. It's a very big deal, because what you do to reinforce what we do at home is extremely important, right? Because no one should listen to you more than your kids. You're the parent. You are the parent, okay? Whether it's your own child or niece, nephew, this is very important. The second thing you could do is this. Or talk to your neighbors, go on your social media accounts that you're all on, talking about all the things that happen here. Say this today. Go back from this meeting and put this out there. If you know your son or daughter has a pellet gun or a water gun or a fake pistol or a Nerf gun that's black or something that looks like a threat, do not bring it to a building. There is no reason to have it here. No reason at all. Because something that looks real, whether you know it's fake or not, does not look real, does not look fake to someone who's in a classroom who's charged with keeping your child safe. Every building has safety services individuals. You could call them security guards if you like. We don't call them that. They're a part of the community, right? They're safety services, all right? They all have weapons. They're all there to take down a threat. You do not want your child to have a fake gun and be considered a threat. You do not want your child to be sitting next to someone with a fake gun who's considered a threat. It's very simple, all right? And we are now charged with the task of holding parents accountable, all right? I mean, you're endangering the welfare of your child and others. I live in a place where some of my children have pellet guns or air guns, whatever you want to call them, BB guns when I was growing up, right? We do that. They hit tin cans or whatever it is. They know not to bring them anywhere. If your child has a knife because they work with you, they cut cardboard or whatever it is, they cannot bring that knife to school. That's a threat. If they have a box cutter, they cannot bring a box cutter. None of those things. So if you know your child has these things and you want them to still have them, please make sure they know not to bring them to a building or to an event or to a soccer game. any of those things, please, we need your help on this, right? Last week, I sent out several memorandums to you because they continued to happen. I am not singling out any parent. We're all parents. These things are going to happen. But if you haven't had that conversation with your own child yet, please do so tonight, all right? And again, if you're on those social media accounts and you want to talk about everything that's good and bad in the district, that's fantastic. It's a great thing. It's a great thing to get it all out there. Make sure you say this tonight on those social media accounts too. We need your help, all right? I don't want to see anyone getting hurt, okay? So specifically, when a threat does occur, and it's any type of perceived threat, we don't think about it. We don't, as administrators, as a safety services team, we don't say, hey, we wonder if that's a real gun or not. The kid's a good kid, but maybe he's got, we don't say that. We take it, we take it for real. The threat is for real, okay? There's then called an active lockdown, right? It's an active lockdown. All those things I talked about, those things that are secure, things that you may not know about, those go into effect, all those mitigation factors, including a team of trained professionals from the police department for this reason, coming into a building with deeper weapons, okay? And you know what I'm talking about, right? Ready to put down a threat. When that happens, your child takes out his or her phone and texts you right away and says, Mommy, Daddy, I'm scared. I don't know what's happening. This is for real. Right? And you immediately, as a parent, want to get in your car and fly up here because you're going to kick the door in and go get your child, right? I am telling you this, that is absolutely not going to happen, right? Because if there is an active threat, you are not getting into the building, okay? All you are going to do is be stopped by the police because you may become part of the active threat. Think about that for a second. I totally feel what you're feeling at that moment. Ken, I've been through it before myself. Right? Been through it with my kids. It's a scary thing. We have to have you understand that we train on this monthly. We do tabletop exercises. We meet with the police department constantly to make sure that these things don't happen, because this is the world we live in, unfortunately. It's a scary thing. You know, this board is incredible because we do everything we possibly can to demilitarize the classrooms. We have things in classrooms that the teachers have at their disposal that your children don't even know are there, okay? We don't want them to live like that. We don't want them to say, hey, what's this on the windows? Or we don't need that. We want them to be kids, all right? But we're ready, and we proved that several weeks ago, okay, with this lockdown drill, with this lockdown event that we had, okay? There is no way to tell you as soon as it's happening, hi, this is Dr. Tomko, we're in an active lockdown at school 20, just letting you know there was a weapon there, there was a gun there. It's not going to happen. When the scene is secure, as soon as the scene is secure, the first thing I could possibly do is go to my phone and go on my Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it now, my account, and I can say lockdown or safety event at the middle school or wherever it is, everyone is safe. That's the first thing I can say to you. Because why? Because it's an active crime scene, or whatever you want to call it. It's an active investigation, right? But to me, as a parent, even though you're not going to be happy with it, because I'm not happy with it, that's the most I can tell you at that point, is that your child is safe, okay? So regardless of how quick that is, or that's as soon as I get it all clear, all right, we're clear. Boom, it's the first thing I do. Then we work on sending the email out. Now, the email has to come out from an office area, right? Usually it comes out from the school, which the office was actively in a lockdown, okay? So the quickest thing is me to notify you first, and then my office gets out an email as quick as we can. This is the way it happens, and we do a really good job of notifying you here as quick as we can. Now, moving forward, you then probably want to take your child home, which is normal. If you want to do that, there's a time frame for that. Once the building is clear, then you can, as a parent, come up and get your child if you want. But you have to realize that the secretaries and assistants are still trying to make sure all of our children are okay. There are probably some children in the building that are nervous, and we get the counselors there to see them. So we're a little busy answering phone calls, and you're probably in a line of 100 other parents. It's going to take some time to get your child. It's not that simple. But it is your prerogative to take your child home. That's fine. But please be patient with that. I don't suggest that. I think the best thing for your child at that time is to be in the normal environment, be with his or her friends, be with our counselors, be with our administrator, and say, look, listen, This was horrible, but it's okay. We're okay. We did a great job, okay? Our safety services team, I applaud them. The police, I applaud them. The administrators, the teachers, the kids did an incredible job. The individual students who also saw the threat did a fantastic job letting us know, okay? Now, wasn't a real threat, quote unquote? No, but we didn't know at the time, all right? Now, I will also clear up a few things that were on social media just so we're all aware of this because it's important. The first thing is this. I know certain individuals said that they were on scene in 60 seconds, and nobody was on scene in 60 seconds. That absolutely did not happen. Okay? Number two, elected officials, administrators, we do not run to a scene. We have our protocols in place. We all do what we need to do to make sure that scene is secure. Okay? At that point, when there is an active lockdown that takes place, it's something called incident command. The school loses all command of the incident. Do you really think that myself or a principal, with all due respect to our principals, should now be in control of a number of armed police officers in a building? Absolutely not. At that moment, we lose total control of the scene as long as all of our students are locked down and they are, unfortunately, again, it's the world we live in, and they are safe in their rooms. Okay? At that point, when I work with the chief then on putting out a statement to you, sometimes it's several hours later, and sometimes it only has little bits and pieces, and by that time, the rumors have spread incredibly, right? Because we know how things go. It's not Belleville, it's everywhere, and that's fine, right? But there is nothing but transparency on my part, and I'll just speak for me in Belleville. I won't speak for all the other superintendents in the country, but there's nothing more important than transparency on my part when this happens because there's nothing to hide. Right? If something occurred, you need to know about it. If we messed up on something, you need to know about it. If there's something we need to improve on, you're going to know about it because that's how we get better, all right? This procedure and protocol that happened this past several weeks ago was almost textbook perfect. I'm very proud of everyone, okay? And again, once the chief and I or the deputy chief or emergency management, once we know exactly what we can release to the public, that's when you get the full story. And you still don't have the full story, obviously, right? Because it's still an active investigation. But what we can learn from all of this is one thing. Please make sure that your child is not the one to bring something in that can cause that chaos. Because that's what it was. It's chaos, right? It's losing sleep at night. It's anxiety for your children. It's anxiety for the teachers, right? It's dangerous when the police are flying here at 100 miles an hour to get to a school. Right? Pedestrians, all those things. Please make sure your children understand that these are not things to bring to a building. These are things to stay at home or go to work with dad or mom or whatever it is. You want to shoot a paintball gun with your kid on the weekend? By all means, go ahead. That's great. He or she should not bring it into a building. It's very simple. To me, that's a simple point. Please have those conversations, okay? Again, I'm not saying that we're 100% perfect at mitigating danger here, but we do a really good job. Our intelligence here, our kids here, they are really good at it. I have to say, second to none. So I wanted to just kind of clear that up a little bit with all of you. If you have any specific questions about it, you want to see me, you want to meet with me, talk to me face to face, I'll absolutely make time for you in my office so we can talk about it. But again, I think we did an incredible job, and we'll continue to do that. Hopefully, in our lifetimes, we'll never have to worry about that again. But if we do have to worry about that again, we will absolutely be ready for it. So I want to thank the police department publicly, Chief Minikini, Assistant Chief Corbo, all the things that we've practiced, all those times that we put in, along with all of our incredible staff members, our administrators, just did a fantastic job making sure that everyone left that building safe that day, and we continued the school day. So again, I'll say progress to that, and just an incredible job. So thank you very much, all of you, for that. All right. So I will digress and now talk about test scores, because I know a lot of people are really looking at that. And there are, again, right after that, we're going to celebrate all the achievements of all of these academics in this room. So I appreciate you all coming out tonight for a little time. There's a lot of things in Belleville and around the country talking about learning loss, COVID. I hate that term. I don't want to talk about COVID anymore, all right? We're done with COVID, okay? However, it's reality, right? The regression was real. But tonight we're going to celebrate from these scores 11 perfect scores and 9 students that were within 10 points of perfect scores. So regardless of what the aggregate of students are doing here, we have the ability all to reach the top echelon and get perfect scores on these tests. So again, some of our teachers are here tonight to celebrate their students with those scores, etc. We have students that are in summer reading challenges. We have students winning contests, just incredible things that are happening. We need to get better with the aggregate, meaning with the entire community, all right? But we are dealing with a few things that I just wanted to announce for the board's recollection and to talk about in public tonight. Some of the things that you may not be understanding that are happening in the district that are some hurdles and some challenges that we have as a district specific to Belleville. Number one, since last June, we have, until the end of September, we have 155 new students on our rolls. So our enrollment has gone up 155 students. That when I first got here, School 9 and School 10 were both under 100 students. This, in 2 months, we've already gone up 155 students. And I will tell you this, I've been here, this is gonna be my 9th year. Historically, our enrollment skyrockets in January. So that means that we are then busting at the seams. To tell you this, we have, and the first time I'm ever we're gonna say this, I can't believe it, we have 6 sections of classes closed. That means that in certain buildings, we have 6 sections of different grade levels that we cannot fit students in anymore. That's unheard of, right? We're running out of space. Today, we are at 63% of our students receive free or reduced lunch. 63%, okay? That's tied into poverty levels, that's tied into assistance. That's 63%. I think last year when I left, we were at mid-50s, all right? So people are struggling, things are happening. Since August, we have a 25% increase in our ELL population, our English language learners, and our immigrant status has risen tremendously. That's since August, okay? So we have all of these individuals coming into town that they want to be part of this community, and we love it. As a faculty, as an administration, we love it, okay? But that means that we are dealing with different buckets of the community. We have our students that are going to be our high achievers. We have our students that are still learning English and are doing really well, right? We had a ELL student who was our valedictorian last year, right? Incredible, right? Takes some time though. So again, what we like to talk about today is we like to talk about growth, all right? And we all talked about math and how we get up here in math. Our math scores, we need to get them higher. We want them to be 100%. Is that going to happen? I don't know. I'm trying to be realistic, but we definitely can get there at some point. Okay, it's going to take some time. But in all but 2 categories of math that you're going to see tonight, all but 2, we have increased our scores. 1 category, geometry, we doubled our scores, our percentages. So we're definitely on the right path of growth, and that's what's important. Those are the things I appreciate the board for. We continue to expand our RTI. We have some new programs we're putting in. Mr. Coben's going to talk to you about this one program that we put in for ELA, and that's why you see a little drop of scores, because once you put a new program in, it kind of mixes it up a little bit, even moving forward to next year. But again, we're in this for the long haul, right? We're in this for the long haul for your kids. We're real excited in a few years to see some of the preschool scores, right? Our preschool universe is over 90%. Just incredible stuff. But these are great things, but we have to get better, okay? So I'm going to call Mr. Coben up here to just do a brief summary of the score summary, and then we're going to get to honoring all these incredible students tonight. So if the board would like to either move on to the side or whatever you want to do.
Good evening, Dr. Tomko, Belleville board members, and Belleville community. I will be presenting on the New Jersey Student Learning Assessment and Dynamic Learning Maps results tonight. The New Jersey Learning Assessment was administered this past spring, and its primary purpose is to help highlight some of our curricular strengths as well as areas of improvement. It's designed to measure students' proficiency levels at grade level expectations, assessing their understanding of the New Jersey Student Learning Standards in English Language Arts, grades 3 through 9, mathematics, grades 3 through 8, algebra 1, 2, and geometry, as well as science in grades 5, 8, and 11. It provides a snapshot of student mastery at the end of the year. Now, importantly, it does not provide a snapshot on student growth. For this reason, it is important to take a comprehensive view of both our New Jersey Student Learning Assessment scores as well as our STAR assessments, which measure growth. At the same time, some of that shifting demographic data that Dr. Tomko alluded to. As early as 3 months ago, there's also this new term. I also don't like to talk about COVID anymore. At the same time, there's a reality in terms of its compounding debt, or in other words, the consequences of those school closures. Organizations like the NWEA or the National Assessment of Educational Progress, they're predicting continued severe declines in terms of student learning. And so what we're up against is trying to narrow and close that learning gap with everything that we're going to be and have been throwing at it, which I'll get to. The New Jersey Student Learning Assessment has 5 performance levels. Level 1 did not meet expectations. Level 2 partially met expectations. Level 3 approached expectations. 4 met expectations, and 5 exceeded. This is our first report card, all right, for English Language Arts grades 3 through 5. I'm going to walk you through this one and then move a little faster with the other ones. All the way on the left, you'll see grade levels, 3, 4, and 5. We're comparing the state scores with Belleville scores. And we're comparing 3 years' worth of data to get a longitudinal outlook. 2019, 2022, and 2023. Okay, we did not take the assessment the 2 years prior across the state. Levels 1 through 3 we merged together. Okay, those are the next column. Levels 4 and 5 we parsed out. Those are our meeting and exceeding scores. And all the way to the right, okay, we've combined levels 4 and 5 so that we can easily compare 2019 with 2022 and 2023. All right, you'll notice an increase by about 3 percentage points for grade 4, and a small decrease, grades 3 and 5. The next slide is going to have a visual, a column graph, okay, after each report card. This will give you a side-by-side comparison over the course of all 3 years in each of the 3 grade levels. The presentation will be available for you on the website, so you can peruse it at your own time. This next slide demonstrates grades 6 through 8 in ELA. Again, a stark increase in grade 7, decreases in 6 and 8. And again, grade 9. Then we have our subgroup data for ELA. All right. There's some interesting things that stand out here. One are our students with the 504 plans. We're exploring why we increased by such a large percentage points, because if we could, we would like to replicate that for the future. Also, you note that former English language learners, it's actually a field value on the science report card that was provided to us by the state. It was not for math and ELA, so we contacted the state and we're waiting a response because it would speak to the efficacy of our ESL program, which I'll get to when we talk about science. And then finally, the NCAP is, again, comparing our mastery scores from the SLA with our growth scores from Star Renaissance. Okay? And of note, is a remarkable increase as our students had recently concluded the fall assessment from 22-23 to 23-24 by about 10 percentage points in the high growth column. This means we are on the right track. Just as well, we have decreased our low growth numbers. Now we have mathematics, grades 3 through 5, as Dr. Tomko mentioned. We have actually increased in all 3, 4, and 5 grade levels. We have reason to believe that this may have something to do with some of the work that the curriculum and instruction team was doing last year with regard to inquiry-based problem solving. In fact, they're going to double down on that this year, and I'll discuss that in a moment. All right. 6, 7, and 8. And those increases in both Algebra 1 and Geometry, which nearly doubled. There's also a lot to celebrate on the subgroup data end. All right, so you can take a look at that. And while not as remarkable of an increase from the ELA portion of Star Renaissance, we have again increased our growth in terms of the number of students who assessed in the high growth area from last fall. And again, decreased, however small, in the low growth. So we are on the right track. Science across the state has been historically low. Still in grades 8 and 11, we've increased our mastery. And there's also a lot to celebrate in terms of the subgroup report card data. So this leads us to some of our intervention strategies. 2 months ago, during the NJGPA presentation, I had alluded to many of these strategies, which are still applicable to this presentation. So I'll review them rather quickly. The first is the hiring of a supervisor of mathematics in grades 7 through 12 who will assist in articulation and best practice instruction in mathematics. It's Miss Marietto. We have brand new curricular resources in grades 9 through 12. Revised scope and sequence in the upper grade levels. We are also implementing Edmentum, which is a Star Renaissance product, which helps differentiate instruction at that adaptive software level. We are continuing our year 2 of response to intervention, which is assisting students in different tiers to help promote their learning. We are continuing with our 7 through 12 ELA writing map. We are also continuing our before and after school tutoring, and very excitedly look forward to the Achievement Academic Center that'll be opening up in our city. We're also implementing brand new curricular resources in ELA, K through 12. Excitedly, also our high-intensity tutoring program, Litera, that has begun at the middle school level for our Tier 2 students, as well as our 80-minute block periods. What I didn't mention 2 months ago are 3 additional interventions. And one will help, hopefully, with our science scores and bring a level of engagement and real-world learning to our students, is a science curriculum review that's going to be occurring under Ms. Shanklin for grades K through 8. Doubling down on inquiry-based learning strategies in mathematics for our elementary school, elementary grade levels. Those professional development sessions will be provided by Savis, who creates our curriculum, who provides our curricular resource, Envision. And also very excitingly, we applied for a grant, which is pending, to bring Litera into grades 3 through 6 for our Tier 2 students. Again, that's that high-intensity tutoring program. So stay tuned for an update on that, but we're very excited about that development. To further contextualize the demographic shift that Dr. Tomko was talking about, the number of English language learners, stark increase. This is just from last August. Now, part of this is due to some recent legislation by the DOE, where we can now tag and track our pre-K students as English language learners, which again, it just helps us to contextualize our services to our children. And secondly, the number of immigrants, our immigrant population. A student is deemed an immigrant when they come from another country and enter a U.S. public school for 3 years. Once they're over 4 years, they're no longer considered an immigrant. Now, why is this important? Again, it's just another factor in terms of how we service our children, from curriculum all the way down. And so finally, these are some of the strategies that I also alluded to 2 months ago during the prior August presentation. We have new ESL teachers that we have hired, an ESL teacher coach, which helps support teachers in the classroom with ESL best practice strategies. We are doubling down on Foundations, our explicit phonics program in K2, which we believe is going to pay off dividends in the end. We have opened up our Summer Bridge Academy for more intentional programming for our English language learners, which began last summer, and we will continue that this coming summer. Under the guidance of Mr. Vargas and Ms. Caballero, our preschool universe is quite large, as you can see, over 95% capacity, and we're very excited to see what that's going to do down the road. Again, we have new K through 12 ELA resources. We also have new resources for our newcomers, the majority of which are our immigrants from National Geographic. We have Freckle and La Lilo, which are adaptive software programs, kind of like the elementary level to Elementum, which is at the upper grades. We're continuing our ESL parent advisory committees, 15 hours of PSYOP training, sheltered English protocol training for our new hires, as well as, again, before and after school tutoring. Dynamic learning maps. These are the personalized assessments for students with severe cognitive challenges. They're highly individualized, and they assess in English language arts, grades 3 through 8, as well as grade 11, and mathematics, and science in grades 5, 8, and 11. Right. Students' performance levels are at advanced, proficient, approaching, or emerging. Now, due to the highly individualized nature of both the assessments as well as the students' needs, these are the ways in which this data is used by our IAP teams for discussion and action planning at annual review meetings, which may inform the adaptation of their IEPs, individualized education plans. It can be used during discrete trial teaching, which essentially breaks down larger goals into smaller goals to focus on mastery of smaller skills leading up to larger skills, as well as identifying areas for teacher professional development. Parents, grandparents, guardians, you are all emailed score reports for either the SLA or the DLM. Just as well, about 2 weeks ago, the district testing calendar was emailed, and there you can find links to further resources for either test practice or information on assessments, district assessments. Dr. Tomko, I'd like to thank Ms. Kuko, Mr. Acosta, and Mr. Puglia for their assistance with this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Coban. So basically what you saw there was a quick snapshot. It's going to be on the website so you can look at all the scores. Again, we need to work on the aggregate, the total score. But as a parent talking to other parents here tonight, worry about your own child, right? Worry about your own child. Everyone's situation is different at home. Some people have means for private tutors. Some people don't. Worry about your own child. Look at your child's scores. Look at his or her growth and help us get them better, right? I have 4 children at home, okay? One's away, but I have 4 children. One of them is the best English scorer, and one of them's not the best English scorer, right? You have to deal with them differently. They're not the same, right? One needs these interventions, and one needs these interventions, right? My youngest will study on a Sunday. My oldest, I don't think she ever studied in her life, right? But my wife and I had to work on different interventions for them to make them successful. Not all my kids were A students. I knew they weren't going to be, but they did the best they could. It's the same thing with you as parents, right? Help us get the interventions that you need. Worry about your own kid. Worry about your own kid first. We'll worry about the aggregate later. Like I said, there's a lot of other hurdles. I brought up 155 new students to you. 155 new students. I don't know what those students were taught a year ago. I don't know what they were taught 2 years ago where they were somewhere else. But now they're ours. And guess what? Their scores are going to be up here next year. 155 new scores. I don't even know where they've been. I don't even know if they've opened a book. That's the aggregate. Worry about your own child. We're putting things in place for your children. Call your principal. Call us. Email us. We will sit down and we will help you. We have a whole team of people that this board graciously spent a lot of money on for response to interventions. Okay? We're also opening up, hopefully within the next few weeks, CASA, the Center for for Academic Achievement, Success and Achievement. That's going to be down attached to the indoor training facility. That's going to be a nighttime tutoring center for your kids, and it's also going to have a parent university to help you with all these programs you just saw. Freckle, Lalilo, EduClimbers coming up. Like, what are all these things? Well, these are all the things we have for your kids, but we know you don't know them all, but we have to get you there. All right? A lot of great stuff happening here. All right? Just become our partner with it for your own kid. That's the most important thing right now, okay? And tying that in, if Mr. Muniz, if you could come down here with Vice President Meany. Tying this in also on the agenda is our CUSAC placement, right? CUSAC is every few years, well, every year the district has to fill in what they call a performance review and make sure that we are doing all the right things for academics. Last year we were up for a full review, which means the county and the state come in and they really scrub the data. They do desk audits, they look at all of our stuff, and then we get scored. When I came here 9 years ago, I think Belleville had the lowest CUSAC score in history. It was each category was in the low 30s. You all were in deficit, and we had a state monitor. If you see on the agenda tonight, we are once again considered a high-performing district. We scored 82% because of our growth in instruction and program, 100% in fiscal. Mr. Palladino, excellent job. 100% in fiscal operations when you were in $4.7 million deficit years ago. We scored 100% in operations. We also scored 97% in personnel. And what did I miss? Facilities, 100%. So I want to congratulate this board and the district. I also want to recognize Dr. D'Elia, who's here. Come on up, Dr. D'Elia. Dr. D'Elia is in charge of CUSAC with me and with the board committee, and we just want to recognize him for all of his work and getting everything together. It's not really an easy thing. It's not an easy task, but we want to congratulate him as well. So, Doctor, thank you so much. That's for you, sir. That's a real one, man. Yeah. Thank you very much. And one more. Hold on, Jeff, you're fired. Thanks, Tom. Thank you very much. Excellent. One more thing before we call up Ms. Shanklin to start with our student stuff. We had a very horrible thing happen a few weeks ago. We had some counseling that needed to happen. Our high school team mobilized and really did an incredible job for our kids. It wasn't an easy day or easy week or easy month here at the high school, but I wanted to recognize those two individuals that really stepped up and made sure all of our kids were taken care of, all your kids were taken care of. So that's Dr. Pastor and Mr. Rhodes. Mr. Rhodes, are you here? He was here. No? He's getting a coffee. Well, wanted to thank them very much for just, again, really doing a great job here. So without further ado, if Ms. Shanklin, if you'd like to come up. Where's Ms. Shanklin? Oh, right in front of me. Oh, my God. I'm like, Ms. Shanklin. Whatever you want to do. You want the podium? Oh, okay.
Behind the podium, or you want to stand in front? How can we help?
All right, I'm going to begin with our perfect scores. So today I have the distinct honor and privilege of announcing 9 students who have achieved a perfect score on the 2022-2023 NJSLA or NJGPA in either the area of ELA, math, or science. Despite many obstacles placed in front of these students over the past few years, these students have managed to not only excel, but to exceed expectations. Although we know that test scores are only one piece of the puzzle and there are many other factors that make an individual who they are, we would be remiss if we did not acknowledge these great accomplishments. Certainly, not every student needs to receive a perfect score, as Dr. Tomko said before, to be successful. Nor is it our expectation that every student will receive a perfect score. I think the state would need to change the scoring if that were the case. But I also believe we can learn a great deal from these students and their teachers and what has helped them to exceed most throughout their educational career. I will now call each student up individually. Please come to get your award and wait until I call all 9 names for a group picture. If the teacher and/or principal who worked with a student or students is present, you are more than welcome to join as well. I'm going to begin with a school number 10 student. Last year was in grade 3. He was not only a perfect score recipient for ELA, but also math. And in grade 3, there is no science. So he was a perfect score in both of these categories. So I'd like to bring up Ilya Veprik. Also a school number 9 student, grade 6 last year, so now in the middle school, for ELA, Luana Quinones Erica. Last year's middle school student, grade 7, ELA, Miley Madrigal. Last year's BFS student, grade 8, ELA, Rachel Doe. BHS student, GPA, instead of the NJSLA, ELA, Christine Bajouge. Christina. BHS, ELA, Nyla Durrell. BHS, ELA, John Martin. BHS, ELA, Neil Sanchez Cruzalgiui. School 10, last year's grade 3, math, Samir Stevens. BHS, last year's grade 11 science, Jasleen Arias. Before we give them all a round of applause, I do want to also mention who their teachers were last year. If they are here and they're not already up, feel free to come up. Mr. Moran was the ELA teacher at, actually it should say Miss Moran, ELA school number 9. Mr. Pedalino, math, I don't know why they all say, yeah, it's Miss Pedalino. Miss Pedalino, math, school number 10. Miss Gizzo, ELA, school number 10. Miss Valero, middle school, ELA. Miss DiPietro, middle school, ELA. Miss Robeson, ELA, high school. Miss Santasuso, high school, ELA. Miss Lewandowski, high school, ELA. Mr. Balke, high school, science. Please give the students and their teachers a round of applause.
Just before we get to the next one, Mr. Rhodes is here. I would just like to recognize him again for the hard work that they had with that tragedy. So thank you very much. We appreciate everything done.
All right. I also have the pleasure of introducing our 2023 Elementary Summer Reading Challenge top readers. These students clocked in collectively thousands of minutes read this year, and we are so proud of them for their efforts. I wanted to also acknowledge each and every student who participated this year, even if they are not being called up today. At the end of the day, every little bit of reading counts. Reading is a gift, and it can open so many doors for you in the future. Unfortunately, I cannot honor every single participant, or we'd be here all night. Instead, we are honoring 3 students per elementary school. There will be a top reader recognized from kindergarten through 2nd grade, a top reader from 3rd and 4th grade, and a top reader from 5th and 6th grade. For these awards, we will honor them by school, so I ask the students accept their award and wait till I have called all 3 names from their school. If their principal is here, feel free to come down. We will begin with school number 3. Sorry. It's these, and then there's a gift card. All right, school number 3 in the K-2 group is Tiffany Lauer. Grades 3 and 4, Adeline Ramirez Kuak. And from 5 and 6, Selena de la Metas. And these are our school number 3 top readers. Congratulations. All right, school number 4. For our K-2 winner, we have Alana Vargas. For 3 and 4, Allison Vargas. And 5 and 6, Ariana Santiago. And some of their teachers are here as well. Let's give a big round of applause for school number 4 winners. All right, congratulations. All right, school number 5, our K-2 winner, Sienna Bastillo. I saw her coming in tonight. She was very excited. 3 and 4, Vanessa Rodriguez. And 5 and 6, Mia Loiza. All right, congratulations, school number 5 winners. School number 7, K-2, Haley Nova. Oh, okay. Unfortunately, we have a couple people sick tonight, but we'll still mention them. 3 and 4, Emma Lacey. And 5 and 6, Dominic Capola. All right, congratulations, school number 7. All right, school number 8. K-2, we have Elias Calpres. So cute. Aw. 3 and 4, Amy Campbell. And 5 and 6, Anthony Rosas. All right, congratulations, number 8. Oh, wait, let them take their pictures first. All right, now congratulations, number 8. I was told that unfortunately at number 9 there were a few sick, so we're not sure if they're here tonight, but Mr. Rotundo will accept on their behalf if not. So for school number 9, K-2, Layla Feliciano Soriano. Oh, she is here. You were hiding. Three and 4, Anthony Rozchik Jr. And 5 and 6, Samantha Miranda. All right, congratulations, number 9. And last, but certainly not least, school number 10. K-2, Amelia Amparo. Three and 4, Monet Taylor. And 5 and 6, Dylan Cases. All right, let's give a round of applause to not only school number 10, but all of our winners tonight. Thank you.
All right, now I'll call it Ms. Demikoff for a few other awards, poetry, and writing contest. Sorry. Ms. Demikoff.
Hello and good evening, everyone. I'm very, very happy to be the presenter of these awards. Before I begin, I would like to invite our Belleville Middle School ELA teacher to come forward, please, Miss Omaima Omerer. Several students in Miss Omerer's English classes this past school year in May entered a contest which was sponsored by the Gandhi Mahatmana Art and Writing Contest. And once again, this was in May of 2023. The Association of Indians in America from South Jersey chapter sponsored this contest. The students responded to the following quote: "The future depends on what we do in the present." Students were given the option to provide a visual representation of what the poem demonstrated in terms of their understanding, or they could have written a poem. The ceremony for our winners was held at Princeton University on October 8th. Our two students made the top 10 contestants, and one of our students was first place, and one came in third place. So at this time, I would like to call up our first place winner, who is Amalia Martinez, grade 8, Belleville Middle School. Congratulations, Amalia. Our third place winner is not here this evening, but we will give her her award when she returns. Her name is Melanie Cardoza, also grade 8 Belleville Middle School. Okay, moving on to our next contest. Several Belleville Middle School students participated in the 2023 America Library Poetry. The following students were selected to be published. Their poems are being published in a book that is entitled Empowered. Please come down when you hear your name called. Once again, we have Amalia Martinez, who participated in this contest. We have Leilani Paredes. Michael Wowchek. And all of our students being announced are grade 8. Jaden Gulcharan. Mary Angela Yamunake. Raquel Zuniga. Melanie Cardoza, she will receive her certificate when she returns. Zeta Vaca. Judah Cook. Judah's actually receiving 2 awards for 2 poems that she wrote. And we have Olivia Rodriguez. Congratulations to our Belleville Middle School students, and congratulations to Miss Omerer. Great job, everyone. Thank you.
Congratulations once again. We'll just go ahead and give everyone a few minutes.
Mr. President, we have one more round of applause for all of our academic winners this evening. Okay, we also have HIB self-assessment scores. We talked about this last month. There were some of the things that we talked about and some of the scores that we were doing. Again, these scores are now final from the state, and they are on there. I'm very proud of the efforts of all of our specialists, Mr. Rotunda, who's taken over that spot, what we're doing in schools, how we're identifying those bullying attempts, etc. Again, if you see something, say something, very important. So again, I commend everyone in the district for what they're doing. Also, this is School Violence Awareness Week. We have some things in place for dress downs for your kids to understand that we have an anti-violence message here in district. And continue, please, to talk to your children about some of those things that we talked about before. Progress, Mr. President, and again, I appreciate the board's support, and thank you.
Thank you very much, and once again, congratulations to all our students. We'd like to move on to Mr. Egan's report.
I'll keep it brief. Just a couple of comments from the state monitor. He's watching enthusiastically live on YouTube and Facebook. As always, he's reviewed the agenda and supports all the resolutions pertaining to personnel, finance, and purchasing as have been presented by both the superintendent and myself. He's proud of the continued ongoing progress the district continues to make with the Board of Education, trustees, and the administration working together. And then lastly, he's very pleased and impressed with the district's CUSAC scores.
Thank you, Mr. Palladino and Mr. Egan. I'd like to move on to remarks by citizens. May I have a motion, please?
Motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, great. Any opposed? Okay, all in favor? We'll go ahead and move on to this portion. Where are we at? Here we go. The board president will call the individuals who wish to speak in the order that they appear in the sign-in roster. The individuals called to be heard shall proceed with his or her comments as briefly as the subject permits, with a maximum of 3 minutes at the podium. All inquiries must be directed at the board president. Dr. Liz Masagia.
Mr. President, I'm sorry, just one quick thing. I know that I see new faces in the public, and I don't know if they know the rules for signing up to speak, or, I see parents and kids, so can you just explain that briefly in case they weren't given that opportunity?
Okay, yeah, so, sorry, Ms. Masad. When right before the meeting starts, we have a list, looks just like this. And it's posted right at the podium. So anyone who wishes to speak, you sign up, and this is the time. The first portion is specifically to agenda items, and the next portion, which is the session 2, that is an opportunity for you to come at the podium for 5 minutes and to discuss anything you'd like to. My personal recommendation to everyone is sign up. Sometimes there's things going on throughout the meeting that at the moment when you got here, maybe you didn't want to say anything, but during the meeting, something came up, something came to mind that then you want to speak. So I recommend everybody just sign up. And if for some reason when your time comes, you don't want to speak and you want to pass your time to someone else, you pass on to the next person, you just simply raise your hand and I'll go ahead and move on to the next person. Miss, yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, first, I would like to commend the teachers, the staff, the students, the administration, and the board on achieving the high-performing status as per the CUSAC report. I was very pleased to read that when I went through the attachments and things for the agenda, and I think it's a wonderful thing. I would also like to congratulate all of the students, whether they were here or not this evening, for the wonderful awards and honors that they received. They're doing a great job, and we have amazing kids in this district. I have a couple of questions on 10-1. There is something there again this month on curriculum. Is that a second reading on the same curriculum change, or is that another curriculum item where it says the new/revised curriculum 10-1 or 10.1? Let's see, 11.32. It's talking about something that actually says it's from 2022-2023 school year. I don't know if that's a typo or if you're actually approving something from last year, and I would love to know what the Trout program is, because it sounds like something I'd love to do, teaching science for all these years. And then finally, because I'll save my other comments for later, I'm so glad that Mr. Egan is very enthusiastic. I would be really enthusiastic if he actually showed up once in a while, because I'm sure he's enthusiastic when he shows up for his check, although he probably has direct deposit. But how is it that he can go month after month after month and never have to make his report in person? And at what point in time will we actually be finished with him? I'd love to know. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sajia. 10.1 is a music curriculum. It's not. It's something that we just kind of updated a little bit. It'll be public if the board approves it tonight. The Trout program, it was changed, but it's probably an old version. I just updated it to be 23-24. So they released Trout. Yeah, it's an interesting program. We've been doing it for several years now. Different schools do it. This will be school 10, and the middle school and the high school. It really is an incredible program. Just to clarify, Mr. Egan is here almost every day working. He's part-time here, but he's in our offices. I just met with him 2 days ago. I had a big meeting with him prior to that with regard to the agenda. Not 2 days ago, over the weekend. It was Thursday, which was a day after our committee meetings. So he is here. His report or whatnot has really nothing to do with this board, so it'd be something we couldn't answer that question for you. You'd have to ask him directly. So, thank you. He has an email if you'd like.
Michael Sheldon.
Good evening, everyone. Michael Sheldon, 47 Floyd Street. We have a few agenda items, questions about. Firstly, 12.54, you're amending an agenda item from August 12.22. This concerns both security cameras, cabling, and Hewlett-Packard lease agreement. It looks like you're adding well over $1 million, actually like $1.14 million to both of these categories. I'd like to have some explanation, some clarification why you're increasing these items altogether. This is nearly, what, $7.4 million of expenditures over the next 5 years. So if you could add a little bit of commentary, I would appreciate it. 12.53, the countertop for the outdoor pizza oven, $7,400. I assume this isn't a Home Depot contractor special. I hope it's at least granite, if not gold-plated, but if you could say something about that countertop, I'd appreciate it. CUSAC, I'll say more about CUSAC during the second public session, but as I've already pointed out in Facebook, and I imagine all of you have read what I posted, there are 593 school districts currently in New Jersey. According to the state's own data, 585 of them, almost 99%, are currently labeled by the state DOE as high performing. High performing, according to their own data, doesn't really mean anything. because almost 99% of school districts in New Jersey are also considered high performing. I have more to say about CUSEC, but I'll defer until the second session. I also wanted to say a word or two about the Oprah section of the agenda, something that you started doing earlier this year, mostly as a means to intimidate me, to assail me before the community, since I do the lion's share of Oprah requests. The latest one is over $1,000, and I want the public to know what that Oprah request was for. I sent in an Oprah request asking for copies of the invoices for the payments to the Bush Law Group for reviewing everyone else's Oprah requests. And so what happened here? They turned around and billed us over $1,000 to review their own invoices that they had submitted for payment. This is the type of stuff that the previous law firm used to do to our district, and I emphasize the previous law firm was one of the reasons why they're no longer representing this district. So if you could, I have 20 seconds left, but if you could say a word or two about these matters, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. So I'll start with the Oprah. I mean, it's interesting because you are on the board, so you know how this works. The invoices have things that may be redacted. You absolutely know how this works. So that's why it has to go through the attorney, just like all the other Oprah requests from everyone on there. And this has nothing to do with you. This is something that the board decided to put on there because of the influx of costs for things that, in my opinion, most of these things either could be seen by your own, research, or very simple things that, are not got you things. You made a comment several meetings ago with regard to how you Oprah for a lot of different people. Some of those individuals that you say you Oprah for are also Oprahing, so I don't know where that comes from. But what you set up here, you as a board member, you realize that all those things on those invoices, we need to make sure that if they have to be redacted or not. I'm unsure if they were, but that's why they go through the attorney. So I, I'm a little taken aback by that statement because you really, I know why you said it, but it's 100% incorrect. The kitchen countertop is in a very large countertop area. You have to realize this, for all of you who are talking about this outdoor kitchen and this pizza oven and all this other stuff that I've been hearing all these things about. During COVID, we made a concerted effort as a board to expand the cafeteria areas for all of our students. One was outside. We built a pavilion. We decided to put an outdoor eating area and a kitchen out there, which included an oven known as a pizza oven, because most of our kids like pizza and calzones and all those other things that we make, so that's what that's for. There's also an outside serving area, which, as you could imagine, because the pavilion is very large, is a very large area. All of those monies, for all of you on social media, just to be very clear, all of those monies are from food surplus monies. Food surplus monies are restricted funds. They can only go back to the kids who eat. They have to go into the cafeteria areas. You cannot take those extra monies and go hire a teacher or go increase salaries or buy books. It has to go back into the kids. So we've always done it since the 9 years I've been here now. We've put the money that you've put into food service. Your kid gives us $1 for a piece of chicken nugget and we make a 20-cent profit. It goes back into your children in the cafeteria. We redid the high school cafeteria. We're now redoing we redid all of the we redid all the satellite sites, the middle school cafeteria and kitchens. We now redid the senior caf, which is going to be the ancillary caf. We built the outdoor pavilion, and that's where that comes in. So that's a very large, I don't believe it's granite, but it has to be some kind of stone, but it's a very large area to service all of our kids. Again, I'll wait to what you want to say about the CUSAC piece. I just would be curious if we were the 1% that wasn't high performing, what your comment would be. So, but I'll wait till the second session to hear what you have to say. So,
Nelsie Diaz, Ruben Rodriguez.
How you doing? Ruben Rodriguez, 179 Cedar Hill Avenue in Belleville. How is everyone? That was a great presentation, the test score presentation. It was really fast. I feel like someone's going to whisk me in the back and make me sign some timeshare contracts. The Oprah thing, first of all, for the total agenda, I'm going to say this again, I'm going to say this every single time I come here, it's horrible mobile-wise. It's not mobile-friendly at all. You can't see it. It flips on you. I would say probably at least more than half of the district probably uses their mobile device as their computer. I know I do for the most part. I'm lucky enough to work from home and be able to look at the computer during the day, but mobile-wise, it's horrible. As far as the Oprah 6.1, whatever it is, if you're going to share this, and you do share it on the actual desktop version, can you put what it's for? This way, you don't have second people reaching out to ask what these Oprahs are for, because you put it up there and it says Oprah so-and-so, blah, this much money. But we don't know what it's for. It could be something important, or it could be something frivolous. So either way, we should know both ways. I was going to ask about the $10,000 in extra pizza money too. But I really just want to know when's it going to be done, since it's on the agenda. This is like the gift that doesn't stop giving, right? Every month there's some more money on there for the pizza oven. And when you voted on it, you said it would be able to, we could use it for like events like the taxpayer-funded barbecue, which is passed, the Green Fair, which is passed, and incidents like the food truck show, stuff like that. All have passed, and we haven't seen it yet. So that would be cool. And I know, like, same thing, like you guys purchased the restaurant. It was almost over a year ago that you started the lease for the restaurant for the kids, and that's still, like, can we get updates? It just seems like there's a lot of stuff you spend money on, but then we never see where it actually gets spent. And finally, I'm going to sneak this in, Dr. Tomko, on you, so I can talk about all this stuff later. 10.1, just because I don't know what it says, I'll make believe I didn't read the curriculum part, but since it says curriculum here. A couple months ago, I watched the video, and you said that you were having issue with one of your kids teaching him math. I don't know if you remember the story, and you were saying that you knew how to teach it, you knew what the teacher was doing, but somewhere between the parent, the teacher, and the student, there was a disconnect. Now, I'm not saying this, I'm not being a wise guy, but you have a doctorate in front of your name. I assume you're a pretty smart guy. And if you're having an issue, and you're an educator for years, if you're having an issue teaching your child what the school is trying to teach our kids, how do you think it is for us who don't have doctorates in front of our name, who aren't educators, who don't know how to do this, who haven't done math in 30 years on a regular basis? So where is it that we're going to find this connection that maybe we all look at ourselves and go, what we're trying to do in the schools isn't working, if our superintendent is saying he's having trouble teaching the issue? So that's it. I'll catch up with you in a few minutes. Thank you.
Thank you.
A lot of clapping today. Great. So I'll clap with you on this one because I agree with you 100%. Wrong meeting for it, though. You guys need to go down to Trenton and have that conversation because I agree with you. Because I can do percentages in my head like I did back in 1978. Well, that's it, exactly. So unfortunately, what I teach your children here with our kids is different what they teach where I live and what they teach in the other side of Essex County or Ocean County. Everything's different because we have different textbooks. There's no equity. We know we don't want to talk about DEI and diversity and equity, but there's no equity in this state. So that's a big problem. So you hit it right on the head. I think you're coming to my side now because I'll tell you why. But how do we sit here and we talk about test scores, right, when we have our issues here, and then my district has different issues with different books, different budgets, not $11 million underfunded, right? All those things. There's no equity. So that's why we talk about growth here. And that's why this CASA Center, which, again, it's taking a little while to build, but we're building things from scratch because we have to lease things, right, and build the great things for our community here. That's why when we open up CASA, I know all of you parents are going to flock down there and learn with us to help your kids. I can't wait to see all of you there during the week because you'll be there. I know you will because we agree on that problem. And I'll say to the commissioner, if she walked in here right now, that's exactly the issue. There's no equity. Different textbooks, different curriculums, local control. Very important. I get it. But we're all talking about different things. Budgets, underfunded. There's other districts that are S2 districts that are getting killed with their funds as well. You know, we have parents that have the ability to get a tutor right away. Oh my God, my kid got a B+. Tutor, here's $500, right? We don't have the ability to do that sometimes, right? There's inequity. So I agree with you 100%. We're definitely on the same page there. And again, this is the wrong meeting, unfortunately. But I'll tell you what, many of the members on this board, you know, and if this board changes or it stays the same, hopefully that same board that reorganizes on the same page, that we make the county and Trenton know about it when we're not happy with things like that, and we do need assistance. And again, we get some money and some ability to try to make that equitable, the equalization aid that Mr. Sheldon always talks about and stuff like that. It's supposed to help your taxes, but guess what? If it's going to help you save money, which I totally agree with, trust me, how am I supposed to get more people in here to train us, to train you and stuff like that? You know, when we do open that night up for when you all pack it at CASA, when we open it up, we got to pay teachers to be here. You should be compensated for your time, right, to help. So all those things take time, but we're getting there. You know, and I think you and I have had many conversations, and we have the same stuff, but you're right. I mean, yeah, I do have some degrees and stuff like that, but it doesn't matter. I'm still a parent. I still make mistakes, right? And it's frustrating when my son sits there and my teacher told me to do this, Dad, and I'm like, yeah, but it's 3 + 3. What's the big deal? You know, but I get it, because what we're trying to teach our kids now is the process, right? I don't think I agree with it 100%, right? Because the answer is important, but in today's day and age, when kids are getting, you know, instantaneous information like we never got when I was growing up, right? It's all about the process getting there, not so much the answer. But thank you for bringing it up. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Mr. Palladino, if it's possible, just because we just had the meeting with the school board not too long ago, and we got to speak a little bit about what makes up our funding, and some of the things that we learned that night, especially with the frustration that we've had with all the calls that have been getting made discussing the lunch applications and all those different. Can you elaborate why that is so important to the school district and what makes up how we get funding?
Yeah, sure. You know, as everybody knows, I think we've gone over this numerous times over the 6-7 years I've been here. You know, your basis for revenues for a district pretty much is your state aid and your tax revenue. Anything outside of that is you know, cherry on top of the cake, whatever little money you can bring in. But the important thing is the lunch applications. And you know, you go back 3 years ago before COVID, 4 years ago, I forget how many years it is now, 4 or 5 years ago, nobody really paid attention to how many people were submitting applications, what a negative balance report was, who had a negative balance, who wasn't paying, who was free, who was reduced, who was denied, where the money was coming, and all of that. Now you enter a pandemic, and you know, miraculously, the state and the feds come up with money, and everybody's free, which is a great thing. It makes our life easier. We don't have to track down people to fill out lunch applications in a district this size. You have 5,000 kids, excuse me, presently. And, you know, then you come out of a pandemic, and, you know, I'd be remiss if I didn't say this, the pandemic allowed us to build up a food service surplus to help benefit this district more with things like a pizza oven, but I'll digress on that. Now you come out of a pandemic and everybody's back in school, and the rug gets taken out from underneath you, and everybody's not free anymore. So now you have to go back to what you were doing 4 years ago and have everybody fill out lunch applications. Well, the problem now is, you know, you have migrant issues that are going on in the world. The language barrier, people don't realize that, you know, we're not free anymore. So now you have to do 100 different things to be proactive and get those words out to parents to help them fill out lunch forms. We've been doing that over the past couple of months. But the interesting thing is getting the word out to parents that not only are those lunch applications important for your child, but they're also important for your child to eat, but they're also important for the items that your child gets in the classroom, whether it's the state aid or whether it's the E-rate money or you know, any of those kind of things. Those lunch applications are very, very important on multiple levels when it comes to school funding. So if you haven't filled out your lunch applications, please reach out to my office. We have about 45 people, according to the superintendent, that are there and willing to help you. But they're very important. So if you haven't filled it out, please do fill it out.
Now, just to clarify, does it matter if you traditionally qualified or didn't qualify in the past, or you may not qualify now? Should you still have that filled?
You know, I laugh. I get the lunch application at home. I tell my wife, don't even bother filling it out, because I know from doing this for 20 plus years, we're not going to qualify. But I've always said at work, whether it's here or in other districts, I tell parents just fill it out anyway.
Thank you. May I have a motion to close public participation?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We're going to move on to personnel. May I have a motion on 9:1 to 9:42?
Motion.
In a second.
Second.
Is there any discussion on any of these items? Hearing none, Mr. Palladino, please call the roll.
All right. Trustee Dattis.
Yes.
Trustee Darrow.
Yes.
Trustee Jacko.
Yes.
Trustee Velez.
Yes.
Trustee Williams.
Yes.
Vice President Benamini.
Yes.
President Munoz.
Yes. Moving on to curriculum and instruction, can I have a motion on 10:1? Motion?
Motion.
Motion, we have Frank motion, Gabby second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Palladino, please call the roll.
Trustee Dattis.
Yes.
Trustee Darrow.
Yes.
Trustee Jacko.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. One
Gotcha.
less thing I have to worry about. I appreciate.
Trustee Velez.
Yes.
Trustee Williams.
Yes.
Vice President Benamini.
Yes.
President Munoz.
You want to do it for me, Erica?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, thank you. We're going to move on to board action and board policy. Can I have a motion on 11:1 to 11:34, please?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussions? Hearing none, Mr. Palladino, please call the roll.
Trustee Darrow. Trustee Dattis, excuse me.
Whoa.
Yes.
Trustee Darrow.
Yes.
Trustee Jacko.
Yes.
Trustee Velez.
Yes.
Trustee Williams.
Yes.
Vice President Benamini.
Yes.
And President Muniz.
Yes. Excuse me one second, just looking through my notes. All right, we're going to move on to purchasing and business services. Can I have a motion on 12:1 to 12:55?
Motion.
I'll second it.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Palladino, please call the roll.
Trustee Dattis.
Yes.
Trustee Darrow.
Yes.
Trustee Jacko.
Yes.
Trustee Velez.
Yes.
Trustee Williams.
Yes.
Vice President Benamini.
Yes.
President Muniz.
Yes. I'll move it on to finance. Can I have a motion on 13:1 to 13:13? Motion. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Can I have a
Second.
Is there any discussion? I actually have, is there any discussion? I'm sorry. Hearing none, Mr. Palladino, please call the roll.
Trustee Dattis.
Yes.
Trustee Darrow.
On 13.1, going to approve every check except 089202. Take no part of that, 089202.
Okay.
Trustee Jacko.
Yes to all except for 13.1, check number 089202. I take no part.
Trustee Velez.
Yes.
Trustee Williams.
Yes.
Vice President Benamini.
Yes, all except 13.1, check number 089202.
You can abstain.
Abstain.
And President Muniz.
Yes, all with the exception of 13:1. Bill 089202, I will abstain on that one. Okay, this concludes board actions for today. And can I have a motion to reopen public participation, please?
Hold on one second.
Oh, sorry.
Does he need to? It doesn't pass if you have 7 people or 3 good. Why Frank abstain? You did it, Frank. So who abstained? Yeah, why did she abstain?
Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and move on to this portion of the meeting. Either board president will call the individuals who wish to speak in the order that they appear in the sign-in roster. The individuals called to be heard shall proceed with his or her statements as briefly as the subject permits, with a maximum of 5 minutes at the podium. All inquiries must be directed at the board president. Dr. Liz Masaggio.
Just two things. I want to go back to Mr. Palladino. You brought up the lunch form thing, and I have to tell you that not only were those robocalls so unbelievably annoying, but they actually, to me, became what I would consider almost a danger, because it got to the point. Now, I teach all day, so my phone is on mute, and it's on my desk. And every day during my classes, I'm looking at Belleville schools, Belleville schools, Belleville schools, and I know exactly what it is. It's that annoying robocall. And what was the message last week that I ignored? My kid at the middle school in a lockdown that I didn't stop to answer, knowing that I could hear that my kid was safe, because here I am assuming it's the free lunch, fill out your form for the 14th time. Okay, so something has to be done with either the number of times that you do that or the way it's handled, because I wound up missing something that, as a mom, to me, knowing that my kid was safe and there was a situation, I missed it. I had no idea that my kid was safe or what was going on over there, because I'm looking at Belleville schools thinking, oh, it's another one of those stupid robocalls about fill out your lunch thing. I don't fill out the lunch thing because I know my kid doesn't qualify, and I'm very well capable of paying for his lunch, which I've been doing for years, and he loves the lunch in the middle school. He's very happy. So something has to be done with that, because I'm quite sure I'm probably not the only one who missed that very important message, because we're tuning out this other one for who knows how many times, and all the emails. Okay, the only other thing that I want to bring up, because I know I brought it up last year, Dr. Tomko, and you did say that something was going to happen probably this past January. I've been talking to a lot of people in the last several months, and I'm hearing all over the place about a lot of kids who go to school here, who don't live here, And I know you said they were going to try to either do checks again of residencies, and I mean, and I know you were going to try to put something in place for January, but I still hear we really don't have much of anything going on there in terms of a truant officer or a residency officer or something like that. And if we're bursting at the seams as we are, then we need to have as much room as possible for our own kids, and in terms of room and resources. So can we look at that? Can we revisit that so that all of our tax dollars and all of our space and resources go for our own children? Thank you.
Through the chair. Thank you, Dr. Massagia. So let's talk about both those things. I agree that those robocalls were a little incessant. We apologize. But I will say this, and I don't want to, let's move forward. 99.9% of the time, because I can't say 100%, but I make sure that those calls that are perfunctory calls or calls for things like that are after school hours. Unfortunately, we had a little glitch in one. I think some people maybe got one way too early in the morning on a weekend, so we apologize for that. That was a computer error. However, if you get a call from us during the day, and it's during work hours or school hours, you need to answer that call. We would not send out anything like that during the day, just so we know, but I totally get where you're coming from. But if you get something during your work day that says Belleville Public Schools, answer it. We wouldn't send anything out that's dressed down or whatever during the middle of the day. We make sure. Now, it might be something that maybe you don't think, not you, but you might think it's important. However, it's something I need you to hear or see. So I will, but moving forward, thank you for that. Totally get it. Re-registration, very important. Re-registration is now occurring in January. We're going to begin re-registering the entire district. So even if you lived here for 50 years, you are going to have to register your kids. We will be sending out our registrar, Director Sullivan, who's in charge of that. He will be sending out a nice thing for parents. By that point, we'll have a new registration office, which will be down in CASA, the Center for Achievement and Success, which is down on Cortlandt Avenue. However, we would now have our registration streamlined. Everything will be online. So you just would have to upload, what we're going to do is like the DMV point system, right? To get your license, 6 points, 8 points, whatever it is. So you have to provide certain categories of points. You will have until September 1st to do that. It'll be due date prior to that as well. But technically, if you don't have it by September 1st, your child cannot enter the buildings. So that's our re-registration process. But to talk about what happens now, anyone who registers now, they automatically get checked. It automatically gets audited. We have 2 truancy officers that visit houses, believe it or not. The problem we're having now is, it's not a problem, it's just the reality, is that the township, and it's not the township's fault, there really aren't too many, what's the word I'm looking for, stoppages on what constitutes living space, right? So, legal dwelling, thank you. Someone living in the basement with 5 kids, those are 5 kids we have to teach. If you in your house are renting out a room, which is happening now, a room in your house, we have to teach those kids. So again, are there kids that don't live in Belleville going here? Of course there are. I mean, I'm not naive. We do the best we can, but I don't think it's as much as everybody thinks it is. The 155 new kids are all audited as soon as they come in, and they do visit the houses. It takes a while. That's why if you ever talk to somebody who registers very late in the year, they may say, oh, it's taken so long to get it. I can't believe how long it takes, because we do our due diligence before that student gets in here. But I appreciate you bringing it up. To be clear again, beginning in January, please be those parents that get your packet in January and fill it out right away. Start getting your deeds, your leases, all those things that you have, so we can make sure everyone is here. We did this, I believe it was the January right after I got here. So I got here in February. It was the following January. And we did remove, for lack of a better term, several hundred students. We have different things in place since then, so I don't think it's going to be that many, but hopefully this deters students from coming back in September, but we'll see. But we're going to be very transparent about those numbers, so thank you. Yeah, and we do, as I said, for the audits, we also, every month, we pick 20, 30 names out of a hat. Well, it's not a hat, but for lack of a better term, at random. And we may visit your house at some point, just, to make sure someone's living there. Those are our random audits that we do.
Thank you. Michael Sheldon?
Good evening again. Michael Sheldon, 47 Floyd Street. Just a quick follow-up on re-registration. Throughout the first part of this year, it was strongly advertised that you were going to do re-registration for September. Obviously, that didn't happen, so now it's been postponed until January. But I do distinctly recall, Dr. Tomko, when you did the first district re-registration, it was for the 2016-17 academic year. And if I remember correctly, you reported that over 200 students disappeared just because they knew they couldn't sneak back into the district. So we'll see what happens come January and February. Couldn't go without noting that I think 4 board members voted no to a check, 089202, which if I'm going to play for the lottery tomorrow. That check is the lease payment for 335 Union Avenue, whose owner, his name I dare not speak. I'm curious, Jonathan Bush might be able to answer this because I don't know the procedural question, but if you have 4 out of 7 board members vote no to a check, does that mean that the check is not given to that vendor or recipient? So if you could clarify that, I would like to know the answer to that question. There was an agenda item, actually 3 of them in the finance section, 13, 11, 12, and 13. These are the alleged monthly appropriation transfers, treasurer's report, and secretary's report. These reports haven't been issued, even though they're supposedly monthly reports. These reports haven't appeared since your June meeting, and in June they were for May. I don't know why there's been such a long interval here without seeing these reports issued on a monthly basis. But what also has me concerned is that at long last earlier this year, you started to make those documents public through board docs, but as of tonight, those reports are once again invisible to the public. I don't know if that's an oversight, but your finance chair, Ms. Status, and the co-chair, Mr. Darrow, should demand that those documents once again be made public. CUSAC. Yes, Dr. Tomko, if we were in the bottom, I would be singing holy hell right at this point about it. But what has me concerned here is for those who are not aware, CUSAC has 5 component parts. And the first part is instruction and programs. In 2019, the district had a score of 80. And the way CUSAC works, a score of 80 essentially is the minimum, is the passing rate. Once you have 80 or better in each of the 5 CUSAC categories, the state automatically labels you high performing. So you could have 80, 80, 80, 80 across the board, and you would still be listed as high performing. There are many districts, and I looked at Bloomfield, Nutley, a number of other districts outside of Essex County, whose CUSAC scores are all hundreds or at least in the upper 90s. But that instruction and program score, it was 80 in 2019, it's only 82 now. So in 4 years' time, it is flatlined. There's been essentially no improvement in it. And I know you're going to attribute it to the impact of COVID. It's one step forward and several steps backward because of COVID. We're probably lucky that the score is still above 80 when you can consider the impact that COVID has had on instruction. But when you look at all the money, all the new hires, all the new equipment, I was expecting to see a more definitive improvement in the instruction and program CUSAC score than just the lowly 82. So I hope that will soon be addressed. You may be aware of the fact that just this past summer, the state of California just passed a brand new Common Core math program, and as goes California, so goes the rest of the country. I don't know if you, Dr. Tomko, are already aware of this, if your main staff members are aware, but that's supposed to have immediate ramifications on math instruction, especially in blue states. So whatever you have in the works right now, you better take a look at what California has just passed and be ready to integrate that into the Belleville mathematics curriculum. When I asked during session 1 about agenda item 12.54, that was the nearly $2.2 million increase in security equipment and the Hewlett-Packard lease agreement. I don't think I got any answer. I don't recall anyone saying anything to me about that. Lastly, what's the status of the parking garage bid process? I've been monitoring Solution Architects website, their bid box system on a weekly basis. I don't see anything yet posted. You know, I would love to have an opportunity, I know my time is up, but to sit down with you and others and give you some ideas about how you could redesign that garage, as you have kindly done, Dr. Tomko. You've credited me when I was finance chair and also chair of the operations committee. You largely credited me with spearheading the Claremont Field project, which obviously everyone loves. It came in under budget. I looked at those architectural plans for the initial garage facility at the middle school, and they, to be honest with you, they're god-awful, and I can see why your bids were just completely off scale. I have some ideas where you could bring about, you had said that you wanted to expand the field. You were going to get rid of the asphalt parking lot, make it continuous with the rooftop. But with the architectural plans that I've seen, you've got a driveway snaking in off of High Street, which undermines the whole goal of having an extended field. There are ways to go about this, and if you want me to stop by, meet with you or your operations committee, I'm more than happy to do so. I have some ideas of how you could redesign that facility and hopefully bring it closer to the $10 million threshold rather than the $20 million that most of the contractors want for the current plan. So
thank you, Mr. Sheldon. Nelsie Diaz?
Well,
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
yeah, let me
Excuse
just, through the chair,
I wanna
thank
give
you.
some answers, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Michelle. I'll let Mr. Palladino, I apologize for 12.54. I'll let Mr. Palladino answer some of that because I know he's very excited about that project. My door's open. I've invited you, anytime you want to talk about ideas, let me know. Send me an email. We'll set up a date. The CUSAC scores, for those of you who aren't aware, they're single scores for different DPR categories, so you add up to 100%. Some categories you get 2 points in, some categories you get 4 points in. If you meet all the growth indicators, you get the highest minimum score, which is 80. And that means you're high performing. So Mr. Sheldon is right, 80 is that minimum score. If you hit higher growth indicators, you get more points, et cetera. So in the instruction and program, which I believe was in the 30s or a little higher when I first got here, that high performing number is really important to us because we are showing growth. Star Renaissance actually helped us get to the 82 mark this year, and that's, again, our first time post-COVID. So we'd love to see that at 100%. We're going to strive to do that. But again, the rubric set by the state has always been there, and there are districts that don't make that mark. But yeah. So, do you want to do 12.54?
Yeah,
and then the other thing too. Yeah.
Dr. Massager, my apologies. First, 13, 11, 12, and 13. Those will be made public after. Well, now that the board's voted on them tomorrow morning. Usually June, there is a little bit of a lag as we're closing one school year and opening another school year. We're in the process of working with the auditors as they assist us with rolling over the 2 years. So there's always a lag. You probably recall that when you were on the board too. And then 12.54, we did security cameras and what have you back in August. And then the opportunity with HP Financial had presented itself because we also needed teacher laptops, brand new TV monitors in all the classrooms. So it's just piggybacking off of working on one with HP, and the financing was worked out. We were going to end up having to do another lease anyway, so they offered to just roll everything into one. So we were working on that with them for the past couple of months. So all stuff we were going to need anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and the answer is I don't have an answer yet on that. Researching the impact of the 304 vote, and I'll obviously advise the board accordingly when I know the answer.
So,
they'll be held or not held, is essentially what I want to know.
What,
Currently, in the way that it's ordered out right now, it technically doesn't hold.
well, that's what I'm trying to figure that out.
Okay, Nelsie Diaz.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Nelsie Diaz, 40 Rossmore. Good evening, Dr. Tomko, President Munoz, Vice President Meany, and Board. First and foremost, I would like to start off by thanking the Board, specifically Louis, Gabriella, and Board members who were hands-on in seeing the school playgrounds finally finalized. I know I've been at this for a couple of years, and I would email Acosto and everyone trying to get the playgrounds in place, so I appreciate, it's great to see them up and running, the basketball courts. I mean, it's the indoor training facility, promoting Halloween events. That's just essential for the kids. The kids definitely need an outlet, and it's good to just have that available. The last time I stood here, I requested a moment of silence. It was a year ago for someone that committed suicide around this time. These continuous cries for help demonstrate that we collectively need to focus on our children's mental health because it's real. We need to open up dialogues on school bullying. And we absolutely need to discuss and make every child and parent aware of exactly what you said, Dr. Tomko. What it is, not, putting that out there, bringing guns at school is not acceptable, fake guns, all of that. But we also need to, we do want to bring that at home and want to open up those conversations at home, but we also have to work together, the board and the school districts, to put things in place so that they have that information also coming from the schools, because we can't depend on these parents to convey that information. I mean, the incident, that was very upsetting to a lot of parents. That was upsetting to me. I didn't have my child there. That didn't happen in that school 3, but it could have happened, right? So what are we doing as a district to make sure that it's not happening again? So what I would like to see is more school assemblies offering a platform for dialogues, encouraging students to express their views, learn from others, maybe bringing in PD, like they have community relations, and just bringing that into our school system so that they're hearing it. We want to promote positive culture. We want to just have that be something that they listen to on a day-to-day, just to remind them, what is acceptable and what's not. Schools assemblies it's just a great way to promote school spirit, right? So I think that that's definitely essential to have. We have, I think last week we did Respect Week. I didn't hear any conversations in school happening. That's something that I think that should take place. So yeah, great, we have, a week that the kids stress down, but what are we doing with that? So just more, I want to see more dialogue. I know there's tons of programs out there, like Be Smart programs to promote, responsible gun ownership. Like how can we communicate that to the parents? Like maybe send out information to them, maybe bringing them into assemblies with the student. I just would like to see more of that because it's happening all over, and we just need to come together to figure out how we can deliver that message. And not just say it once in a while. We just need to be more proactive in getting their attention. So that's something that I definitely would like the board to really focus on. So what do we do beforehand, right? So that's great. The PD and everyone was very hands-on, and they did everything that they needed to do at that moment. But how do we get that from happening? How do we stop that from going on before they enter? I know that a metal detector is, I honestly don't think that it's very attractive. I wouldn't want to see that in the school system because I feel like it just gives us a negative, connotation. It makes us look like we have an issue. But maybe having like a wand detector, just so that they can visually, if a child is going in class and they're seeing someone that looks intimidated and they know that they're going to be, possibly the metal detector is going to go off, that might deter them from going in and bringing that into school. So that's 100% something that we need. I just want to also take a couple of minutes well, one of the things that I also want to see is the ROTC. I know, Dr. Tomko, you and I talked a lot about just different things that we can implement. I would love to see the student council working, maybe having someone in the cafeteria, addressing all of these bullies. Everything goes hand in hand. I think that we need to figure out why these things are happening and how can we prevent them. So having things in place at school.
Ms. Diaz?
Just very quickly.
Your time's expired.
I know.
Okay.
One thing with the NJSCLA, I did get a moment to look at it, and it's very interesting how some schools, we could talk about that, Dr. Tomko, at a later time, but I noticed that some schools that had a smaller population did very great. If you look at school 9 and school 10, they were one of the better ones. They passed, they were in the green. Every other schools were in the red. So we have to look and figure out what's happening there.
Thank you, Ms.
Guys,
Diaz.
thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Just here to the chair. Thank you so much. And I know you contacted me again today, so we're going to meet with everybody so we could bring up some stuff. Just to, you can have a seat. I'm just going to clarify a couple of things, if it's okay. I know we talked about, I want to be very careful because I don't want to bring attention too much to what occurred because out of respect for the families and there are certain things that I really won't be able to tell people about with regard to discipline and other things like that. But again, I will answer any question that any of you have. I know that we're going to get together and move forward with some of the, HSAs and things we can do, and any ideas that you have would be great. But I want to be clear, but I don't want to sound naive, but I want to be very clear on a few different things. The student tragedy or tragedies that we've had in the past, like last year, are not the same as the one that just occurred last week. It's a different situation. Suicide is not something that's prevalent here. I've been not naive because one of the things that we're really concerned about as educators when something like that does happen is the mirroring effect or people that are thinking of copycatting or whatnot. It is true. It does occur. So we try not to memorialize some of that stuff. Last year we had several tragedies. They were not suicides. They first came out as everybody thought those were them, but those weren't them. It's a totally different way of counseling for that. So some of those things were put in place, and that's why we mobilized a lot of that. But it was a really, really rough several weeks here for all these things that were happening. So we do need to continue to have the conversations. And the other thing too is I know we always talk about bullying, and it's very important. And I just dealt with a bullying issue myself at one of the schools the other day. I think the definition is a little different than, again, 20 years ago. But not every tragedy is tied into that, right? There are a whole bunch of other things that happen. But again, those conversations still have to occur. So we are listening. The board and I have discussed some things to prevent something like this from happening again. We talked about metal detectors, et cetera. I don't want you to think that we all haven't talked about that immediately after it occurred. There are some considerations with that. The wand that you were bringing up as well, we talked about. I think you did hit it on the head, though. It totally elevates the district to a different level of, perception and outlook. And don't forget, again, it's difficult to talk about this stuff. I don't want to give away too much, but from an outside threat, right, our security officers, our teachers, our mitigating devices, I know that we're ready for an outside threat. These threats are coming from our own kids, right? Your children. So we would be detecting metal from our own kids, right? From what's happening is stuff that we hope we can take care of at home. But more talks, more assemblies. Those things are all underway. But I'd like to continue to have that conversation. I'm going to answer that email. I was in meetings today, but we'll get together on that. So anybody you can invite, we can meet in here or wherever we have to. We have a lot of room. So, but thank you.
Mr. Ruben Rodriguez.
How you doing? Ruben Rodriguez, Cedar Hill Avenue. Get ready, I'm going to give you 2 compliments. First of all, I think you guys did a really good response. I think it was, said people don't understand what goes into it. But from firsthand accounts, it was, from what I hear, the kids were safe the whole time. Also, I want to congratulate Trustee Daddis and the rest of the board for voting against having pornography in our libraries. I understand the rest of the Essex Board of Education didn't agree, but I understand there were a couple that did vote against it. So thank you for trying to let the parents make a decision on what our kids are going to see in the schools. Also, it's nice to see so many people partaking tonight. I haven't been here in a while, but perhaps if we split the election up into 2, we could get people here in the spring as well, and spring fundraisers and spring events. That would be awesome. And shout out to the parents that did stick around after the presentation. The reason I did want to bring up is 2 things that happened at my school that I actually haven't had a chance to reach out yet. One is they started lunch clubs in my school, and I don't want that to stop because I found out about it from my kid, not from the school, which was a little weird because when they signed up for TAG, I got an email first before my kid found out about it, which I think is kind of the way it should be. So I don't want to shut her down and tell her she can't go to art club on Monday and Friday. But we talk about kids upset and kids getting depressed and SEL and emotional learning. There's nothing better for your emotional health, learning, any of that than sunlight and exercise. And our children have not enough sunlight and exercise. They just don't. And so it might be because now we have the playground and we don't have as much room as we used to. So maybe they're trying to, because I know it's a little cramped down in School 3 with that big playground you put in. Not complaining about the playground, it's just, what's it called? It's just, it happens, right? You solve one problem, you create another one. But one thing I do want to speak about, and I have told the teachers I'm 100% against this, is lunch detention. And that's happening in schools as well. Now I understand there does need to be some type of accountability for the children if they do something wrong. However, I do have a huge problem with lunch detention. Number one, that's their 20 minutes. If they get 20 minutes outside in the sun and air a day, that's it. You're taking that away, you're expanding the problem because now you have these restless kids and you're making them sit for an extra 20 minutes. Children weren't meant to sit for 8 hours a day. They just weren't. I work 8 hours a day and I can't sit that long. I have to go out and take 2 or 3 walks. And also with the lunch detention, I have a serious problem with not knowing where my child is or who my child is with. And it just, like me personally, I coach for softball, basketball, that's it. I don't want to be alone with a child. I don't want the parent to drop their kid off and me to be the only one with them because it just looks weird. So I definitely don't want my kid alone with a teacher, male, female, I don't care who it is. If she's the only one that has lunch detention that day, there's no way I want her alone in a classroom. And if I was a teacher, I wouldn't want her alone with me in that classroom. So I just think lunch detention I'd rather have after school detention like we used to have. And at the very least, if the children do have lunch detention, I think that the parents should know about it beforehand because trust me, my punishment is going to be way worse than anything you can let out at school. All right? So other than that, again, thank you to all the parents that stuck around, and it was nice seeing you again. And that's, you couldn't hear me during the days, Matt knows. And, and just quick when's that pizza oven gonna be done, just so we could stop talking about it, you know what I'm saying?
It's almost.
Getting the first slice.
It's almost there. We're gonna have a nice lunch. Miss Kenya Arayabe, please.
Hello, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Kenya Arroyabe. I live at 181 Belleville Avenue. I want to say thank you to you guys for making sure that our kids were safe on Friday the 13th. I think that a lot of parents were worried, and I definitely, there was a lot of police presence out there at the schools. I would hear, as I was walking my daughter to school, I can hear on the radio, I'm at school 7, I'm at school 3, hey, where are you? And it was really nice that everybody was communicating, the whole town was on the same page, and we were all looking out for the best interest of the kids. So we really appreciate that. I have a lot to say. I have one question, if you could just answer it for me. Star Renaissance is tied to teacher SGOs. Yay or nay? I believe the answer is yes, but I just want to confirm. No?
Let her finish what she's saying.
Yeah. No,
I don't want to take her time.
It's best if you continue. I don't want to take your time.
You want to tell me? Okay.
No.
Okay, so this,
I'm
okay,
gonna-
it's
I'm
fine.
gonna-
It doesn't matter.
I'm going to pause your time for 1 second.
Yep.
Because I don't want, the whole purpose is we don't want to interrupt your time. We're trying to be respectful. So just finish, and then we'll write the questions down like we've done for other people, and then
That's
to
okay.
the extent we can answer them, we will. Okay, I'm going to resume you now.
That's okay.
Okay.
I just want to, we talked about how NJSLA doesn't measure growth and that you're using Star Renaissance to show growth. And I know firsthand because my kids have told me that when students, or my child, because I have to worry about my child only, is being tested beginning, middle, and end of the year. At the beginning of the year, she was told this year that it didn't matter how she did. She didn't have to try her best. She didn't have to know anything. She could have click, 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 and it didn't matter. I'm in education, I know how this works, okay? It doesn't matter, right? The first test that you take, because then the second one matters, and that's how you show growth. That to me is a big red flag because it makes my child feel like either they're not good enough to do better or show growth throughout the year, even if they show what they know to the best of their ability at the beginning of the year, or the teacher's not confident in her ability to help her students achieve growth. So I'll leave that there. I do want to know about the Litera program that's used because I looked it up and it looks like it's an online tutoring program, like a virtual type thing. And I think that our kids really need to have face-to-face tutoring and not another virtual program being put in front of them. I also want a second LC on, asking what protocols are being put into place to make sure that what happened last week isn't going to continue to happen, that kids aren't bringing things that can be harmful to each other. I want to know what the SEL, so you guys collect SEL data, and I'd like to know what's being done with that data, what it's used for, who collects it, and what's done with it throughout the year. The lunch form, I know you guys are taking, you're saying that 63% of our town is in poverty, according to the lunch applications that you guys have received, but if you look at the lunch forms, they don't ask you to provide proof of income. So you can put any number on there. And I'm not sure that anyone's being, I'm not saying people are lying, but I'm not saying they may only put, you could only put one income if you really wanted to. There is nothing that requires you to show proof of income, is what I'm saying. So that's something that needs to be looked into. Because I don't want to pay for my kids' lunch either. Inmates eat for free, and we pay taxes, and I think all kids should eat for free. Let me see, what else was I going to talk about? Also, I know with the Renaissance testing, students are able to retake it if they do poorly. I'm just going to throw that out there because I know you guys want to use it for for showing growth, but I'm not sure that it's accurate. An accurate way to see what's going on in our classes. After looking at some data from the NJSLA, I noticed that some schools are performing way better than other schools. School 3 had a school average of 4 in some of their grades for NJSLA, which is amazing. And then you have School 8 that their average is a 2. And so I'm not sure what's being done with trying to find balance, because our demographics are all the same throughout the district. And I think that's it. Oh no, I want to talk about bullying. Bullying is a huge issue. It's something that hits home for me. My daughter doesn't wear short sleeve shirts to school because she is being made fun of every single day because she's hairy. I think that we need to think about how we are promoting school pride. If we can bring in like a safety patrol program. Have you guys looked into being an IB district? I can read to you guys I know my time is up, but quickly what an IB district would look like. These students will learn to be inquirers, knowledgeable, thinkers, communicators, principled, open-minded, caring, risk-takers, balanced, and reflective. It's all about thinking outside and creating a peaceful world. And I've worked at an IB school myself, and I know that it works, and the students really love it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Through the chair. Thank you. Yeah, a lot of stuff you rattled off there, so I try to do the best I can going to answer you. Let's first talk about a few things you said about, well, you talked about your own children or different, and I'll just speak in generalizations. If there is something that you don't like what's happening with your child because the teacher says something, or the example you said was your teacher said, don't worry about it, it's not important. That's like the second time I think I heard that. There's an expectation on my part that we don't bring it or wait. You could say whatever you want here, that's fine, but bring it to my attention, okay? Because again, we have 900 employees. I don't believe that all 900 are saying that. If there is one or two, again, I need to hold people accountable. So that's an email or a phone call to me saying, listen, Mrs. Jones, Mr. Smith said this, and we will definitely take care of that because that's unacceptable. And again, could say it up here. I'm not trying to stop anybody from doing that, but I can't take care of that if we don't have that conversation. Same thing with bullying. If your child is being bullied and you're not able to get it through to a principal or an anti-bullying specialist, then you need to contact me immediately and we take care of it immediately. Very accessible to that. Those are specific examples. So again, I mean, I did bring up, you have, your own child, take care of your own child. Don't worry about the aggregate piece. We do have neighborhood schools, and this community loves neighborhood schools. So different neighborhoods, have different size schools. They have different HSAs that are involved. They do different events. There's different teachers. So yeah, even though we try to keep everything equitable, it's not always possible due to teaching styles, classroom sizes. We try to, keep that the same. But imagine being a parent that lives 2 minutes from school, and then I say, well, because of classroom size, your child has to be bused now, so we have equitable classrooms. Very difficult when we have the neighborhoods that we want to keep, but that's also another consideration. Brought up Laterra. Again, if anyone's following the grants, the tutoring grants, I predicted this several months ago. The state extended the deadline now, so we are actually beginning the program, but the money isn't here, right? And that's welcome to New Jersey. That's the way it is. However, the virtual piece of that is going to tie in directly with CASA because we will have teachers there, but we also now have this secondary component of virtual learning from other experts while your child is sitting there in front of a screen with a teacher behind him or her, and then the screen in front of you. So that's coming soon in a couple of weeks, and that's only one part of that program. SEL data. I don't know exactly if we're talking about the assessment that came out. That some of you, I think, only 28 or 31. I think it was 31 parents opted out in the entire district. This is data that we utilize to see where we need to work on some of these programs that some of everybody just clapped for, right? All these things that we're talking about we need, well, we need to hear it from your kids. That's that pre and post data. So if we're all excited about that and we want us to provide those programs, then we have to get true data from all of your kids. I know a lot of individuals think that we're taking this data and we're transforming children into different things. That's not what's happening. We're not looking at names, right? We're looking at, this is where we're really looking at the aggregate piece. How many kids in this age group need this? How many kids need this? How many programs can we put in? That's how we base our program and our monies, right? If you ask me, well, why'd you put this program in place? Like I said, well, when we did the self-SEL assessment, 92% of our kids said this. That's why we put this in there. So without all of our kids participating, it hurts us. So again, I think, maybe we need a little bit more conversation about that because, we obviously, I'm glad everybody clapped for that. So we need to continue to do those things, but that's where we get the assessment. That's what the assessment data does for us. As far as the lunch forms, very important. Yeah, we can't verify. It's against the law to verify whether or not you're telling the truth. However, I will say this. Back when I was a middle school principal back in 2002, whatever, 2001, I don't remember exactly, some point early 2000s, we used to do these by hand, and the principal was the individual who used to sign off, and we used to get audited every year. I can tell you firsthand that the federal government audits these, okay? They're random audits. They just pick your name out, they pull all your information. If you get caught lying on this thing, it's a federal crime. Do not do that. It's not worth it, okay? But absolutely right. If you say you're under this category, and let's be really clear, 63% of the population here, even though that basically signifies our quote-unquote poverty, that's not poverty throughout the community. The community, I think right now, the last census is 10%. It just shows you that the heavy load of the poverty is in these schools. So it's interesting. It's an interesting dynamic, but please be really careful filling out those forms. I think I almost hit everything. Bullying, yes, we talked about, and we'll take any type of assistance, that any of you give. Please send me the program. The other program you gave me was incredible. The sheltered instructions. We appreciate that. Just send me whatever you all have, and we'll look into it. So thank you. Also, Mr. Munoz wants me to remind everyone that your children do not go home hungry. There's food here. They may not get the a la carte shake but there is a standard meal that if your child does not have money that day, they eat. If you're not free and reduced lunch, you will then owe a credit. However, they eat. Now, if they don't tell us that they don't, it's tough. It's tough to do that. Elementary is a little easier, but when your child gets to middle school and high school, you need to tell them if for some reason, it's happened to my own kids, if for some reason I forget your lunch money, because I have the app too, right? Just tell the principal, hey, my father or mother, I don't have any money here, I need to eat something. I promise you that if I find out that someone tells your kid to go home and don't worry, you're not getting any food, we'll take care of that immediately. That's not what happens though. But just, again, encourage your child to be comfortable if that does happen. Don't get nervous. Don't get any anxiety. Just go to your principal lunch and say, listen, I don't know why, but I don't have anything on my card or whatever. Again, elementary is a little different, but we don't do that. We definitely don't do that. That's not what this is about.
Okay, thank you. I'd like a motion to close public participation.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We're going to move on to remarks. Board member reports. Mr. Velez.
Thank you, Mr. President. First off, I do want to apologize for walking in a little bit late. The New Jersey Turnpike can be unforgiving, so I do apologize for that. And just going into some of my comments here, first of all, it's been a rough few weeks for Belleville. There's no getting around that. It's been really heart-wrenching, and I think as a community it's important that we continue to support each other, especially through tough times. And I think it's really been something to see truly a coming together moment in our community, especially for families who really need it right now. And I think it's incredibly important that when we talk about bullying, when we talk about controversy, when we talk about people hurting, that not only we come together when it is a negative situation, right? that we always are supportive of each other, that we always have pride for each other, that we always care about each other, because this is a 365 thing, not a one-time thing. And I think it's important that we always support each other. But thank you for the community, because it's been touching to see people really coming out and really being there for each other. And I think that's something that needs to be really stated and really congratulated. I also just wanted to comment, because I do know that there were some really showings of support from the school district and a moment of silence at the beginning of the meeting. I think it's important, again, that we reiterate that we should always stay together as a community, that we should always be there for each other, that we should always teach our children that bullying is never okay, that hate is never okay, that anti-Semitism is never okay, that Islamophobia is never okay, that dehumanizing, treating others like they're less than is never okay. We need to reiterate these truths every day to our kids, because our kids are the future, and we need to carry the good into the future, not the bad. I wanted to talk about the high school cafeteria. Lately, there's been a lot of conversation, and we did announce just a few months ago that there was a huge construction project going on, and that is nearing its completion. And I think it's going to be really something for the whole community to be in all over, because that room hasn't seen any sort of alteration in a while. And I think it's important that we need to continue to invest in our kids, especially in public spaces where they take to and they learn, they read, and they socialize. So I think that's something that need to be put on the radar. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I'm wearing pink, and I would encourage you during this month at any time to wear pink and to participate in any sort of pink out or breast cancer awareness events, either in the district or at large, because we need to reiterate that everyone, whether a family member, whether it be a cousin, whether it be a friend, you are never alone. We are always here with you. Everyone is. So we need to continue to show that solidarity. And I think, as some people have noted, whether it be online or here in the comments, yes, we are approaching election time, and I want to wish the best of luck to all the candidates, and to say that serving the community really is a privilege, and being there and really being a part of truly transformative things and actions is truly an honor. And I know that regardless of the outcome, it really is just something, a privilege to hold high and to really appreciate and be grateful for. So thank you all so much for coming out tonight, and look forward to seeing you guys soon. Thank you.
Trustee Jacko?
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank the parents, students, teachers, admin staff, and all the community members for being present today. Congratulations to the 2022-2023 students who received perfect scores in the NJSLA and NJGPA. Congratulations to the top readers at schools 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Congratulations to the students for winning the writing and poetry contests. I also want to take the time to thank the teachers and admins helping our students to achieve all these goals. Thank you very much. School Violence Awareness Week is in effect. I want to take this time to speak as a parent to the community to please always check your kids' book bags before going to school and when they come home from school. I used to do that randomly to my son, and at one point when he became a teenager, every day. I think it was an idea that I had because, you know, they learn different things, they see different things, and I even checked his cell phone and monitored it. As a parent, I always wanted to be proactive. I send you all my blessings and all the wishes to you of success with your kids. I know being a parent is difficult, So I also wanted to take the time to thank our safety team for everything they have done to keep our kids safe under the leadership of Dr. Tomko in conjunction with the Belleville Police. I also want to request to the trustees here and in my president and vice president to please encourage assemblies at the schools to promote safety, unity, and making better choices. I attended Belleville Public Schools, school number 9, middle school and high school, and you know, back in the day we had, I think it was one assembly every month or every other week for something. I know it could be repetitive, and I know many kids get it immediately, but you know, there might be one that might not have gotten that information. We just want to make sure the information gets to the kids, and honestly, I think it's productive. I know that we currently have our student representative here at each board meeting, and last year we started having our student board liaison. I wanted to find out if actually we can have the student board liaison actually meet with us, the trustees, to express the needs and wants of the students. We want to be productive about this wonderful title our student has, and I wanted to be hands-on with it. Today, 12.27 was passed to finalize the pizza oven. I know there are extra monies in the lunch budget, and I wanted to see if perhaps we could discuss that with that student board liaison, where we can see what the students truly want to do with that extra lunch monies they have. And they might have great ideas to benefit themselves, because I know that from the pizza oven, the students are gonna reap the outdoor benefits of it, but maybe the students' voice should also be heard so we can really see how we can help the students do more for them. Or perhaps we could, I know that Dr. Tomko mentioned that we feed every student, and yes, we do, even if they don't have lunch monies, but maybe we could pay some of that debt that is owed, and that's actually why those robocalls are so consistent, because there is a lot of parents that owe monies to the lunch program, and we can't, I'm not gonna, dwell too much on that. And for that reason, those robocalls are constant now, because we need those lunch applications so that we could save in other ways where we can actually use monies to do other things for the kids. So please do remember to fill out those lunch applications, and any time is fine, no matter when you fill it out. I also wanted to take this time to request for the future year, more talks about lowering the busing distance to better service our students would be greatly appreciated. I know that busing costs a lot of money, but I want to, we make room for other things. I want to make sure we can make room for other stuff too, and for the future. When I was part of the HSA and PTAs, as I too was a parent in the school district, many times, once a month, the president, I had the pleasure of being a HSA and a PTA president, met monthly with our superintendent back in the day. So all the PTA presidents or HSA presidents or PTO presidents or OPE presidents from the entire school districts met once a month with our superintendent. I'm talking about 2006, 2007, 8, 9. And we met to discuss with the superintendent back then what our needs as parents were in the building, because we knew what our parents were going through on a daily basis, weekly basis, etc. And we met with the superintendent to express our needs and wants, or gather information from the superintendent as to what is needed of us as parents. So that was our community engagement back in the day, and perhaps we could look into something of that similarity that maybe we can do also. I'm going to take the time to read our athletic records. I'm on the athletic committee. To our student athletes who are in cross country, boys cross country 2 and 8, girls cross country 3 and 10. For football, varsity football 0 and 7, freshman football is 1 and 3. The boys soccer, varsity boys soccer 10 wins, 4 losses, 1 tie. JV boys soccer 4, 1 and 1. Freshman boys soccer 2 and 4. Girls soccer varsity was 9 and 3. JV girls soccer was 2 and 2. Girls tennis varsity was 8 and 6. JV girls is 1 and 5. Girls volleyball varsity is 13 and 5, and JV girls volleyball is 13 and 3. I want to commend all our athletes. Besides being academically achieving on a daily basis in our school district, they also partake in athlete activities, and that's hard work. So I commend them and all our students that are actively participating there. I know that Frank is on the operations committee with me, and he mentioned one of the things, but I wanted to mention other things in the operations report. The Belleville Middle School HVAC installation is complete. School 4 retaining wall is done. The greenhouse drainage pit was installed. The pizza oven is 75% complete. The senior cafe is almost done. Tiles were installed and should be ready by November 1st. The Belleville Middle School Annex new counselor office was painted in the hallway. And we built a new hallway for the STEM lab at the old business office. And we have a new counselor office built at number 7. And we saved some money because we painted in-house also. So thank you to all involved in our operations. And I want to mention that the students here at Belleville High School at the mock trial team are hosting Candidates Night, where they will ask the candidates questions regarding their decision to run on the Board of for the Board of Education trustee position. Running for re-election on Tuesday, November 7th, and I appreciate the invitation. I hope to see my fellow candidates there. It is always important for me to see that parents in the community are participating and are candidates. I love to see that. It's always been a thrill from my PTA days to see parents participate. I love it. My sister Jessica used to be on that mock trial team when she was a student here, and she would host that. And it's important for me to see that students are involved in our community elections to enhance their involvement in the community. I hope that our kids one day will also hold this for our municipal elections, because I think that the community engagement should be full force for our students, because at the end of the day, as Frank said earlier, they are the future, and we want them to be ready for it, and we want them to be engaged in it. They're going to be parents someday. They're going to be scientists, doctors, etc. And we want to make sure that those roots of being participant, compassionate, having empathy, being informed, doing research is all there so that they can, in fact, be successful. Thank you for the opportunity to give this report and this information, and I hope that some of my requests, if not all, can be done. Thank you.
Trustee Darrow.
Thank you, President Muniz. Good evening. We come to you tonight after going through a very few rough weeks, as you've heard, and we all up here on the board hurt and we grieve along with everyone else in the community for the recent loss of one of our own students. And I'm so glad, like Trustee Velez said, that we're coming together as a district and hopefully to deal with some of this in the future as well. It's also very unfortunate that we now have to live with real threats of violence in our world and had to adapt our schools to now have a zero tolerance policy for something probably unheard of 20 years ago. To protect all of our students, real or perceived threats are not treated lightly, and it is our hope that parents, guardians, grandparents will be much more vigilant about making sure that their children are not bringing anything to school that might be misconstrued as a threat to anyone's safety. As these incidents came to light, I commend the administration and teachers for being able to deal with this situation swiftly and to act in a way that made the most sense to protect all of our other students. Are we open to see improvements happen in the process and how we can do better overall? Of course, we should always be seeking that. But overall, school safety is what should be the #1 priority here. We anticipate that over the course of the rest of the year, we can and do need to improve on some of our scores. We need to start by working with the individuals that may need the extra help once our tutoring center opens and other helps that are out there for our students. We need to take the extra steps to make sure that we take this all in the right direction, and we can and will improve. We've seen small improvements here and there, but we're expecting more improvements to take place over time. Be patient. I know they're coming. I know people don't want to be patient on it, but we know as we're gradually going up that we will reach those thresholds at some point. Just a little light levity here with all the pizza oven talk lately. I cannot wait to taste it along with Ruben. But seriously, I am just happy that our students are getting enhancements to their lunch experience and that overall cafeteria improvements across the board are now being paid by the quote-unquote food surplus monies, that I have stressed that, food surplus monies. That's what's being used to enhance these experiences. So I'm glad it's going to benefit our children in the long run. My two boys did not have that. Just that it's great that these are actually happening now is a wonderful experience for them, for the students coming up. Also in this month's agenda, I was very happy to see just how many grants we are now applying for, as that is ultimately, being on the Finance Committee, free money to benefit our district. The more grants we apply for, the better for us, right? Many of these you must act on right away, so we're glad that we're actively pursuing finding out what is available and having the correct resources that can write up the requests, which must be done in a specific way to even be considered for these grants. So once again, these are things that we're actively pursuing, and we should be. It's basically free money to our school district and can help enhance us going forward. I know Gabby is involved with that. Matt, Mr. Palladino does the same thing as well. One other thing, if I can encourage everyone to attend some of the fundraisers being hosted by the various groups, teams, and schools. I'm not calling anyone out because there's just so many of them. There's a lot going on, and if you could help in any way to support some of the causes represented, I strongly recommend it. You might even have a good time, good fun time attending. As a high school and HSA representative here, I had the chance to attend this past weekend's 80s night to benefit our football team, and it was hilarious. It was fun. Even one was able to get a basket out of it, so it was a good time with the tricky tray. We do commend all the recipients today that won their awards in their respective fields. We give them honor, and that was a great job to everyone that won those awards. We appreciate it. So to all, have a very good night. Thank you.
Trustee Davis.
Hello, everyone. Happy October. As far as committee reporting, a few of us trustees had the chance to attend the county meeting where finance was the topic, and our very own Mr. Palladino sat on the panel and answered a lot of questions. Having a panel of business administrators from other districts reinforced that the problems we face in the district right now, everyone is facing. Congratulations to the students recognized for having a perfect score on the NJSLA. That's very impressive. Great job. Congratulations on all the other academic awards earned tonight. I am the liaison for School 7, and I wanted to highlight an event this weekend. They are having a vendor fair this Saturday. There will be 41 vendors there. It is from 1 to 6 at School 7 in the parking lot. The rain date is Sunday. Updates will be posted if it gets moved due to weather. They're also doing a trunk or treat on Saturday, 10/28, from 1 to 5. It will be $5 per child, and the child does not have to go to School 7 to participate. We have had a rough couple weeks in our district, and I just want to remind everybody just to be kind to each other. I know I've said it before, but a little bit of kindness goes a long way. Everyone have a safe and fun Halloween. Good night.
Trustee Williams.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too would like to give condolences to those who have experienced a loss in this season. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We wear pink to support those who have fought and continue to fight to find a cure. Next, after the NJQSAC review, I do congratulate Dr. Tomko and the Belleville Public School District for being deemed a high-performing district. The New Jersey Quality Single Accountability Continuum is the Department of Education's monitoring and district self-evaluation system for public school districts. Progress is happening within the district, and this is something we can be proud of. Congratulations to all of our students who received awards tonight. I commend you on your hard work, dedication, and tenacity in excelling in your studies. Thank you to everyone for coming out tonight, and have a good evening.
Thank you very much. Vice President Benamini.
Thank you. Very good reports tonight, everyone. Excellent. So I'm just going to say, Dr. Tomko, we really need to thank you. Your detailed explanation of the events and the things that were occurring, I think was very important for everyone to hear. And it's great that it was recorded because people can go back to listen to it now, those people who couldn't come here tonight. But to be in your shoes, I can't even imagine what was going through your mind during all of these events. So we really can't thank you enough. You're very much appreciated. So are you, Mr. Palladino, and all the other administrators, and now Matt Sullivan, who's taking on all of the drills and compiling the information. Obviously, it's a very big job, and you want to say you're prepared for everything? Are we prepared for everything? So terrific job, everybody. Thank you very much, and thank you to the Belleville Police Department, and again, your relationship with the police department and the fire department to be able to get that, that activity happening right away. Terrific. Want to just remind everyone on October 28th from 11 to 2, the township is having their Halloween spectacular right here on the front lawn of the high school. Also wanted to make sure that I thanked Mr. Andrew Coben for your presentation. We're all paying attention, as you can see, on the results and all the assessments and how well our students are doing in school. I especially like the intervention strategies, and I'm also looking forward to the center that's going to open up for more tutoring. Did we answer your question, Liz Massagia, about the trout in the classroom? I don't know if we did, the grant. So, stop it. Dr. Joy Alfano, high school biology teacher, she's excellent. She also helps get a lot of the grants. It's a Sustainable Jersey grant, about $2,000. So School 10, I believe, is the school that is doing the Trout in the Classroom program. It's NJDEP Fish and Wildlife. If you go on there, it's just a little bit of money to do the setup and to raise the trout in the classroom, and then they give you a place to release the trout. But there's a whole bunch of science learning modules that come along with it. It is a really neat program. And maybe, hopefully, when it's all set up, I would like to get a special viewing of the trout in the classroom myself. I had the pleasure of going to the Easy Ride recognition dinner, luncheon, which is part of the Safe Routes to School program, where Dr. Tomko gave a presentation on all the things that the district is doing for the Safe Routes to Schools program, which is very important because the municipality, we are working on the application for the Safe Routes to Schools grant. So every time we are involved in these programs or do something and then highlight them, like in Dr. Tomko's presentation and an earlier presentation done by the town manager, it's really an added benefit that goes hand in hand with the application that we're going to submit, which many applications will be submitted. So it's always a very competitive grant cycle for a lot of these grants. But fingers crossed, I'm hoping with all the work that we're doing, working with the school district, the police department, all the activities, all the education in the schools about safety, pedestrian safety, driver safety, will hopefully pay off. And that's it for my comments for tonight. Have a good night, everyone, and happy Halloween. Happy safe Halloween.
Hello, everybody. So I will close this out. I just want to reiterate some of the statements that have been made. I just want to thank our staff and our administrators, our crisis intervention team, and our local police department for the amazing work that they did. Unfortunately, it's work that we wish that didn't have to do, but we are grateful for the fact that you're all prepared to handle the situations that have fallen on our laps in Belleville over the last couple of weeks. So I just want to just emphasize that gratitude, but also bring a little bit of attention to each one of you, because I am on the other side of those calls when these things are being reported, and I could hear how hard this is just for you to get the words out, as parents and as people that are constantly with our with children and interacting with them and trying to improve their lives. And it's hard. You put yourself in those shoes, and you feel every bit of it along with the families. And I outside of the things that we do for your students, for our students, and outside of the things that we do to make sure that they're okay, we also have things in place to help our staff get through it, because this is tough for them. And they love your kids and they interact with your kids on a daily basis. And this is, it's important to remember that they're feeling it too. So I just want to thank them and express my gratitude as not just a trustee, but as a father, for all the work that you all do. I just want to say thank you for that. And I just wanted to kind of bring up a point. I've been wanting to say it for a while now. It's something that it constantly gets brought to my attention. I'm lucky enough to not just be able to serve you as a trustee, but I'm also fortunate enough, I have 4 kids, and I have very active kids, and they play sports, and they have a lot of activities, and they keep us busy. So outside of having my 4 kids, I also have like 40 crew kids and 30 soccer kids, and it's an amazing experience. What I like about the kids is that they feel comfortable enough to just come to us and tell us what they're thinking, tell us how they feel about stuff, and they pay attention. They know what's going on. So a lot of times I'm obviously not trained outside of being a father to 4 young boys, but I oftentimes have to give them advice and hear things that they bring to my attention. And one of the things that they say so often is, it's funny how everybody wants to come to us to talk about bullying, but when you stand outside and look in, the adults don't treat each other with the same respect. Social media is a wonderful outlet. It helps bring us together. It helps us communicate things, concerns, things we're worried about, things that, ideas, things that we may not have thought about that maybe someone, a couple examples here today. One thing that we didn't think about that Dr. Massager made a statement was, she might have ignored, she ignored a phone call because of the calls that we were making, but it's perfect, it gives us an opportunity to highlight the fact that, hey, you know what, during our day, during school hours, we're not bothering you with anything that's not high priority, right? We're saving those calls for after school. So it's a good point to make, a conversation I don't think I've ever heard before, so I'm glad we were able to do it. But just because these outlets become a way for us to get our points across, you got to pay attention to the fact that some of our kids follow all these pages. Some of our kids listen to what we're saying. Our kids know us all very well, and they know what we say. So, you know, one of the things that I say to my kids, you know, is that you got to set the example for what you want to follow. And, you know, the reality is that if you want our kids to come into these schools and treat each other with respect and dignity, we have to treat each other with that same respect and dignity. So that's really the point that I wanted to make. You know, I'm not trying to silence anybody, and I'm not trying to say don't speak your piece. But just remember, we are here. Please make all your comments and all your requests and all your concerns official by sending something to your school building principal, by sending something to your teachers, sending something to Dr. Tomko, even when any of us as trustees. You know, any message that I get, Doc gets immediately. I forward him everything. So please just, you know, treat each other with the respect that we want our kids to treat each other with. And that's it for me. I would like to adjourn this meeting. Can I have a motion to close?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
We're adjourning. All right, all in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Have a great night, everyone.